Oh, wrong button.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the MC Motorsport MCV8 series. This is the penultimate round of this season, and we find ourselves here in the streets of Chicago where these Gen3 Supercars are set to unleash their power on one of the most unforgiving circuits in motorsport. Of course, the V8's built for speed and aggression, but on a street circuit like this, every single throttle input, every application of the brake, and every single inch of track position counts. The tight corners and high-speed straights here are absolutely built for these Gen3 Supercars, but the unforgiving concrete walls are going to test the driver's skill, patience and bravery like nothing they have seen so far this season. With barely any room for error, expect door-to-door battles, some late braking lunges, I imagine a few bruised panels before we drop our checkered flag this evening. The real question is, though, who will conquer the chaos and take control here in the Windy City? It is time to go racing once again with MC Motorsport, presented to you by Simple Racing Broadcast. My name is Jared Cole, and it's a pleasure to have you back with us again. I'm joined in the commentary booth this week by my good friend Dean Hopton. Biggles, how are you?
Good to be sweet home Chicago, my friend, and a sweet twisty track circuit, as you can see in your pictures currently at the moment. It's not, apparently we're not allowed to open up the gate between those two turns where they would intersect at the moment there, so it turns in basically to a wreck fest. You can just go through there at 180 kilometers an hour, hope somebody doesn't T-bone you, but no, not going to happen. So they have to do it legitimately. Lots of turns left, lots of turns right, and exactly. I've got information too from one of the teams and a few of the drivers, but we'll give you that little juicy bits of information a little bit later on.
Absolutely. Qualifying already underway, so we will go and check out a little of that in just a moment. The format tonight, of course, two races, a 75k and 150k, 22 laps in our first race, and then a reverse top 10 for our 44-lap race number 2. The conditions here in Chicago, absolutely beautiful. 18-degree air temp, 33-degree track temperature. Before we do go to the qualifying session, let's take a look at the championship standings, because there are only 2 rounds to go. Tonight may just decide the championship, but we have, of course, the Bathurst 400 to come next week. So before we jump into qualifying, let's take a look at where they stand. And of course, we do have the combined splits here again tonight. The gold splits separated by all of 9 points across the top 3. Fishy Motorsports taking it out so far, Biggles. It's going to be a close one, isn't it?
Yeah, they've got all the ace cards, but trust me, I was talking to one of the teams there, especially one of our crowd favourites there, of Dan the man.
Danny P.
They've got a little bit of a strategy. They have a little bit of a strategy up their sleeve this evening. They realise it's it's coming down to crunch time at the moment, and hey, if they've got to pull all the ace cards out of their sleeves to try to bring it to the Fishy Motorsports team.
That's going to be a big effort. Danny P sitting just over 100 points behind championship leader Ty Delaney. The top 10 really fairly spread out, a couple hundred points between them. But those top 3 very, very comfortably in there together. So keep an eye out for the Fishy Motorsports liveries tonight as they look to extend their lead. Keep an eye especially on David Coleman, who quietly, in amongst all the battles we've seen between Delaney and Dyke, have just made his way up. He overtook Dyke last week, and he is on the charge to try and take that number 1 spot. The silver split, on the other hand, would you believe only 1 point separating the top 2 there, Biggles?
Oh, it's going to be heating up, my friend. It's heating up in Chicago because you've only got a couple of rounds to go. Jake Rebellia there, Hayden's only a few points. Jake's not even that far down the stretch there. Ryan's not that far down the stretch. I mean, one good result here right now will flip that whole championship standing in silver split around, my friend, upside down. I mean, we are on the northern hemisphere. The toilets fly the opposite way.
That could be all it is, right? That could be all it is. But yeah, your top 5 very, very close there in the silver splits. So with just about... what have we got? 5 minutes, 6 minutes left of qualifying. Let's go down to the track and check out some of the action, see what's going on out there this evening as we take a look and see who's setting those fast times out on track this evening. And Biggles, it's going to be another interesting one, isn't it? With the combined splits. It's always interesting. We see Seth Stevens getting very loose as he pushes
This is exactly
hard.
what I heard. A little bit of inside information from the drivers. It's bumpy under braking, and it's a street circuit, of course, and it's long straights, 90-degree corners. It's very similar to the Gold Coast 500 layouts, which suits the supercar as well. It's narrow sections making difficulty on passing. I've heard how some of these things are going to be done. And the bump and surface changes, the street level will test the suspension and car control to the limit.
Absolutely they will. These street circuits always a challenge because, of course, the Gen3 Supercars, much as they love bouncing over ripple strips, it's really unsettling to these chassis as you're under brakes heavily and hitting some of the bumps that you find here on the street circuit. So these drivers are going to have to be so careful to not lock those tyres up. As we see, there's the crowd favourite himself, Danny P, the gold banner on the windscreen, of course, as he represents in the gold split this evening. We're going to have, it looks like, 34, 35 maybe out on track if all these drivers do make it to the start line this evening. So there's going to be a lot of competition out there. And we see, of course, Hayden Cupid out and about. Danny P still rocking the vibe game. We might actually just take a moment to make sure we've got all of these drivers in their correct liveries this week, because, of course, some of them are still rocking the retro round from last week's Sandown Enduro. And what a racing series this has been. We've gone to all ends of the planet, really, and so the best racing courses that you can find. Look at there's an old Dick Johnson throwback right there. And we're speaking to some gentleman about, actually speaking to somebody else on a completely different thing, and saying, that it's too soon, isn't it, to bring back that one? But if somebody was saying it's 45 years ago. Wow. Anyway, street circuits now again. Bathurst coming up. Wow, it's everywhere. And this is another thing. Speaking to some of the drivers, my friend, I don't know if they practice pit stops, pit stop entries. I don't know if they practice race starts, and certainly of all, how they practice overtakes, because you don't really practice overtakes too much in practice sessions. So there's a lot of factors key here this evening in Chicago. And on top of it, my friend, you're battling for a championship at the moment. You need good results. A couple more rounds to go, and certainly the mountain to conquer is going to be the big one for these drivers. Yeah, Bathurst is always the pinnacle of V8 Supercars racing, isn't it? And 400 Ks around there, it's going to be a very, very interesting race next week, but we've got to make it there first. And for these drivers, just surviving here at Chicago is going to be half the battle, I reckon. The circuit is really set up beautifully for these cars. We know that it's very hard to get overtakes done, and a lot of it does rely on overtaking under brakes. And Chicago is just made for that. It's virtually all 90-degree bends to negotiate, which is going to look. It's going to present some interesting opportunities, but given that it is, of course, a street circuit, there is no room for error tonight, Biggles. It's a backup stock exchange, my friend, so if you want to be gambling on the market, you're gambling on getting your car around these 90-degree turns, as you mentioned, narrow sections, big braking zones, so you've got to take care of that, which fuel saving. Now, apparently it should be okay on getting through the first split without having to go down to pit road there. Tyre wear isn't that bad because it's a lot of straightaways, heavy braking zones, so you're not high-speed cornering like you would around Spa or even in Bathurst as well. But bumps are the key. Bumps. You got to get that one. And overtakes, it's going to be, you're going to send one up the inside. Do Dan Ricciardo style, their last and late breakers. But of course, you get all that pearl shape. You got two cars side by side in a corner, and they're going to fit. You know, we've all tried that one with little kids, isn't it? Trying to put a square plug in a round hole. Absolutely. We go on board with crowd favourite Danny P. Let's go for a lap of Chicago, and you can really see the visibility through these corners is going to be very, very challenging, particularly if there is any coming together of cars on the other side of some of them. It's going to present real issues because the drivers are not going to see it until the last moment, and there's a real potential for huge pile-ups here on the streets of Chicago. Very, very limited runoff room. You've got to nail those apexes and really get that drift out to the wall bang on to make sure that you don't scrape up against it and actually lose any time in the process. Then hard under brakes, another tight left-hander. They're slow corners compared to a lot of what these drivers have been seeing, but I'm sure it doesn't feel slow when you're on such a narrow piece of bitumen before you hit those walls. You have to kiss the little fence on the inside too. It kind of tell every driver, it just, kiss the apex, hug it like your favourite grandma's, as Daniel's just retired off the session there, as we're going on board right now currently with Stevens. You want to take every corner like you're taking the elbow of Bathurst, mate, Forest Elbow, because you got to get that spot on, because you've got straightaways down there to get the gas on and get the power in, and then brake for your next corner. You got to do that multiple times. Avoid the fence there, buy it some flowers, take it out for a nice romantic dinner if you need to. We know that you can see the power there that Stevens puts down there as he exits the corner. He just has to oversteer and correct a little bit because he doesn't want to head up in the fence. It's all over the place. We've got a little chatter out there
saying that apparently Jake is the man to look out for. He's the king of the streets here in Chicago.
Okay, all right. Tom Donahoe giving us the inside goss there. Jake Rebellion, I imagine, is the target of his affections this evening. Take a look at this. The Fishies guys running these streets just the way they're running the championship at the moment. And it's Ty Delaney looking to seize back pole position for tonight's race from David Coleman. There's not much in it. You look at the top 10 separated by less than 2 seconds there in the gold split, and almost down to only a second in the top 10 of the silver split. There is nothing in it here at Chicago. It's going to be a very, very close race tonight as we enter the final minute of qualifying. Big scrape against the wall.
Kiss on the fence, mate. Yeah. Oh, fishy kisses to the fence. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Because the Fishy Motorsports team know you can wall ride it. You can. These are tough cars. And I've seen that too in some oval circuits as well too. Some drivers doing it the other day. Some people say it isn't illegal. It is. Depending on if you're not slamming your front fender into the fence, you won't be doing any damage. You just got to side kiss it perfectly. Get your Big Mac through the McDonald's advertising there, and then throw it around. Remember, these V8 Supercars do not throw these cars around here in Chicago, but the next gen cars do in NASCAR. So hey, if we do it bigger and better in Australia, mate, than the Americans do. So come on, boys. Throw them around even faster.
As we finish up qualifying, we will just wait a moment for the grid to be announced for this evening's race. And of course, as we said, combined grid once again, but David Coleman and Ty Delaney up on the front row ahead of Jamie Dyke and Danny P. Then Hayden Cupid and Seth Stevens, both racing in the silver split, but both a very good showing on row 3 tonight, ahead of Reese Wakefield and Dane McDonald. Then Josh Harris and Jake Rebellion. Look, there he is, top 10 for Jake. Josh Harris also known to throw a supercar around street circuits from time to time. They're in there on the 5th row, just ahead of Dean Power and Nicholas Garriosh in race 1 tonight. Ryan Palmer ahead of Aaron Gilbert. Then Ryan Smith and Jackson Austin alongside each other ahead of Mitch Curry and Matt Bakir. Adrian Gresh and Daniel Harrod line up alongside each other ahead of Dylan Thomas and Ronald Long. Then Robbie Bradbury and Henry King behind them. Thomas Wilson and Simon Caplet alongside each other. And then Chayton Byron and Scott Stevens a long way back from where you'd usually expect to see him. The 30 rounded out by Darren Lofton and Aaron James. And Nathan Bowman, Martin Lipsky and Josh Van Treek, the last of the drivers on track this evening. And Biggles, it's going to be a very, very interesting start here. We've got a lot of gold and silver drivers mixed in together. What's your prediction? Are we making it through the first 3 laps without a safety car?
It's a key, mate. Safety cars are, you can get a tangle very, very easy on these 90-degree corners, and I think these drivers are aware of that one. Track position is key. DC is knowing that Fishy Motorsports were tied that lady behind him, Nose and Jamie Dyke. They had the advantage here. They can control this one. If all carnage happens, they're hoping it happens behind him. The biggest thing right now is that what can Danny do? What can Danny P do? He's got these 3 Fishy Motorsports guys up the road there. They can block. They can seize this advantage when we get ready to go green.
As we wait now for the last of the drivers to grid up, let's take a look at the racing for once again. So 22 laps to start us off here tonight, 44 laps in race number 2. It is going to be a very, very challenging evening, I'm sure. The track temps have dropped significantly down to 21 degrees now as we get ready to go racing. Under starters orders, the lights come up. We've got 2 starting from the pits, Danny P and Jackson Austin. But we are underway, and David Coleman takes off. The 3 Fishy drivers, a huge launch, and they are way off the line as we come on down to turn 1, a sharp left-hander, and let's see if everyone actually makes it through in one piece. It's a big ask, it's a big field, but so far mostly pretty tight. A small bit of contact at the back there. You can see those drivers slowing right down, and quite a bit of room given. Some sideways action from some of them as well. But here we go once again. The MC Motorsport V8 series, MCV8 series is underway, and no better to watch it really, Biggles, than right here.
And what about Mitch Curry? Mitch Curry up at a P11 at the moment, slicing and dicing, got a good launch there for the boss man himself, but you've got to give it to the Fisher Motorsports team. They covered off that top 3 easily. A bit of a gap actually coming back to Hayden. Reese Wakefield making up 2 positions for the 969 machine. But absolutely fantastic launch there from the boss. Dean Power up 3 as well, too, with P8, as they're narrowing their way through the streets here of Sweet Home, Chicago.
Not a bad way to start the evening off, up and over the bridge. And it's all of this track. it seems so familiar to me, and I can't place it. You know that? It's one that I've not raced on, but there's something about it. I swear I've seen it. I don't know if it's in another game somewhere before. If you're familiar with Chicago Street Course being in another game somewhere in the last, I don't know, 15 years, let me know where I might have raced this thing, because I've been watching it here during practice tonight and trying to place it, and I cannot do it for the life of me, Biggles. I just cannot figure
that's
out
one for
where
the
it
chat.
is I've seen
Absolutely. Yeah, the boss man there, Jared. I don't know. Even go back to the old Daytona game and the arcades and stuff like that. I don't remember Chicago. This was a very arcadey. And don't you dare call this a game. You call this again, my friend. You're going to be going to that naughty corner, okay? This is a simulation. Drivers that drive this for practice. There's drivers in NASCAR, though, doing a race during a NASCAR pause in Daytona because of the wet weather. They were actually in iRacing going on there getting some practice laps in. So this is a simulation, my friend.
As you do. Ryan Smith and Thomas Wilson, both from Subways Esport, giving Matt Bakir a bit of a nudge off to the side, and he's joined by his teammate Adrian Bresch, also from Alpine Pro. And you can see the stretch starting to happen. Look at the gaps between each of these drivers in their different splits. Granted, not on track. It's
Reese Wakefield making a big run there on Damon. A little bit of a lock up there. You can see for a second exactly. So it's difficult to overtake. These drivers are well aware of that one. But so we see esports have the advantage currently at the moment of P4, P5. We know that Fishy Esports had the massive advantage of the top three. But you get Reese Wakefield in a hot zone as a tank slapper goes to Damon McDonald on the end of the fence. So Reese can seize this opportunity. Not much overtaking opportunities around here, but Reese has to put the pressure on big time right now in her first heat race, lap 2 of 22.
Going to give it a good shot. Let's see if he gets the run out of the corner, because this is where it's all at. That home stretch gives you the best opportunity to try and set something up under brakes. Some quick laps coming through. A 1:26.14 from David Coleman out in front, and he's continuing to look to extend his lead. Have a look at this pack that we've got right in the middle, though. We've got Mitch Curry heading up, Aaron Gilbert, Jake Robilliard, and Ryan Palmer. Aaron Gilbert really just kind of caught in the middle of this silver split battle that's going on right now.
Absolutely. DC got the fastest lap at the moment, way up front there for Fishy Motorsports. I think this key thing right now is you do see Damon hits the fence again. But the thing is, it doesn't matter how many times he hits the fence. He's hitting on the exit. He's not allowing Reese Wakefield to get an opportunity. Oh, as you're seeing on your pictures right now, who's that slamming in the fence in the DRS zone?
Just overcooks a bit on the exit and slides it. He's managed to retain most of this position, but one's going to go down. He may lose another one yet. As we go up front, take a look at these three from Fishies. The gap now is absolutely enormous. So the three Fishies drivers just really working together at this point, you'd have to think. But look at it, clear air, almost 4.5 seconds behind them to Hayden Cupid, the next driver. Absolutely dominating here in Chicago so far.
Don't want to go too far. Thomas Wilson's gone to the fence. Thomas Wilson's gone into the fence somewhere that is dropping like the 929 Stock Exchange here in Chicago, and he is almost 30th place. He has to wait for everybody. That's the problem, street circuit, mate. Now we can go, but he's just dropped, as I said. I mean, you know, he's not investing in the right stock exchange here in Chicago, my friend.
Here comes Ryan Palmer, puts the move on Mitch Curry. Can Curry go over under and get that position back is the question. He's not going to have the drive just yet, but they come to the next corner very quickly. Gives Curry an opportunity to perhaps look at the pace he can get out of it. He's going to stay right on the tail and look to recover that position shortly. Still sitting in 5th right now, but the gap in the silver split is huge.
Going for it.
As we follow him with the drone here, it's a great shot here in Chicago, being able to just chase them around this circuit. And yeah, Curry, you can see he's trying hard to hang on to the back, but Palmer's got some pace here tonight and starts to pull away from the boss man himself. Let's go back and take a look at that.
The boss man's up 4. We've got to give it to him. So another driver up 4 is the Blackhawk Motorsport of Dean Powell, the Dean Deans. He's getting the job done for the 93. He's running in P7 at the moment. Reese can't get past
there's some
McDonald
contact there. Jake Robilliard's actually tapped the back of Thomas Wilson there, I think, and that's what's actually put him into the fence.
Going to be playing with no fences here in Chicago there, gentlemen. And you don't want to get Ferris Bueller's best friend's Ferrari out here racing at the moment. Yeah, Barardi's, my friend, if you've seen that movie, of course.
If you haven't, then where have you been, honestly?
Yeah, Reese is still putting pressure on, but Reese cannot find a way. This is an early indication to all these drivers right now, their engineers, their spotters, their friends, their families, their cats and dogs. How do you OT around Chicago? Because so far, it's been very difficult. Henry King's in pit road at the moment, but it's up to see this race in of 5th and 6th at the moment, whether or not Reese can find a way past old McDonald.
Yeah, it's a big ask, though, isn't it? Especially big contact, though. That might be all that he needs. As McDonald smacks the wall there, that's going to take a lot of pace out of him. Reese Wakefield, though, can't capitalise. It's a very, very tough circuit to get past.
It's an exit slapper, isn't it? It's an exit tank slapper on the fence. So it's not. It's the entry, the one you can capitalise on, but the exit, you don't scrub that much speed.
Here comes Curry and Palmer side by side.
Wow,
Curry almost had him around the outside there.
Yeah,
it was close.
Palmer has it, but you got to remember Mitch Curry's still up 4, so Osman's happy at the moment. The super cheap auto, he knows that he's got all the parts and he needs down the pit road for very cheap.
Our silver split leader has had a big moment. Let's go and check out what's happened to Scott Stevens, the HR Jinx entry.
It's got to be an exit into the fence, isn't it? Got to be a tank slapper big time in the fence.
That's
no, it's spin! Just get on the lap pedal. Now, apparently I've heard, Jared, that those marbles are going to be a huge factor. We're not even into marble territory. We're only 6-22, but look at that spin too. That's a fantastic job.
Great flick spin. Credit for that.
Yeah.
It's not going to get him any points tonight that he probably desperately needs, but
and drifting
it looked good. Yeah, I'll give him.
Reese still putting pressure.
Points.
Reese putting massive pressure at the moment. Reese may finally have an opportunity here, side by side up the road to remember too. The Hayden could be a factor in play here, but does he? Has to lift off. Reese had to lift off. DM manages to hold him at bay again. Another opportunity that Reese tried. DM doing fantastic driving for the Sideways Esports, and not even sideways, my friend, but he's keeping it. He's keeping Reese for the Antic Motorsports right behind him, and job done. And that's the thing. Reese gets wide past one side, Sideways Esports driver. He's got to get past another with Hayden and P4.
He's got to keep an eye in the rear view as well, because of course he's got none other than is it Nicholas Dariosh, I think, and Dean Powell right behind these.
That catches him big time, mate. Yep, that little battle's branched them all up. So that's where it's penning. And of course, further down the field there, you have the Nicholas there, and Nicholas and Josh side by side as well. Got that in the pictures. Yep, perfect.
I think Josh Harris just letting that happen because Nicholas Garrish, of course, not his fight here tonight. Gold versus silver. There is no point getting tangled up in that and battling for positions that aren't there in the first place. Plenty of little battles though going on up and down through this grid. Dave McDonald again. Look at the pressure from Reese Wakefield. Once again, big lock up there from Hayden Cupid.
I think Reese is a key to this one because I was speaking to Reese a little bit earlier down in pit lane, and got to understand the fact that Dan the man, he's actually behind Darren at the moment, putting pressure on him for 19 for 20. If Dan had to start down pit road, and Reese is his wingman, mate. He's Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer. I can be your wingman any time. He needs a wingman, and the problem at the moment is that Daniel's down in 19th place, whereas Reese is the only one that can bring it to the Fishy Motorsports drivers, which is the ones that are going to steal crucial points away from Dan the man.
Yeah, keep an eye on this. Ryan Smith from Sideways Esports is all over the back of Jack Robilliard, who in turn is hassling Mitch Curry very, very aggressively for this position. Of course, Smith looking to get through here if he can. It's always tricky when you get caught up in traffic like this, particularly in these multi-split races, particularly when the cars are identical. You can't just rely on the additional pace like a GT3 GTP battle or anything like that. Big contact with the wall for Ryan Smith there. And
the marbles will start falling. Remember, there's Fords and Holds, mate, so there is a difference.
There is.
We'll keep going.
Always a difference, isn't there? We'll keep our eye on this battle for a little while because I think there's more to come yet. Take a look in the background. None other than Gresham Thomas right there as well.
And Dan the man. Don't forget about Dan the man making a run too. In the background, sticking his purple car and the nose all over the back there of Robbie for the Pacific Esports Racing driver, and he is close, my friend. He is he's about, as Michael Brundle would say, a cigarette paper between them, although smokes in 2025 anymore.
I know,
But there
right?
it is in your pictures.
Robbie Bradbury, he's going to have to pull something out special here because Danny P is hungry and he's looking to move into the top 10. Bradbury, though, staying calm. Beautiful, beautiful livery on that one. Love a bit of chrome usage. Livery makers, take note. More chrome. More chrome in your colours,
He's
please.
injured up here, making a run at the moment. You can see in the back there of Danny P's cars. He's just got nowhere to overtake. We saw Reece Wakefield trying to put the pressure on the Subways Esports drivers. Couldn't get it done. Can Danny show the drivers here in this fantastic MC Motorsport League how to get an overtake done around the streets of Chicago? Because not many drivers have done it yet.
No, it's a big ask. It really is. And you can see that as some of these cars start to really bunch up. Looks like Jake
Big lock
Rebillion's
up,
gone
big
around.
accident at the front. Something's happened up the road.
Rebillion's gone around. Let's go back and catch that. He's in the middle of this pack, so he's right behind Curry as he just overcooked it over the bumps. Hits the wall hard. On the brakes, locks
it's a
it
big
up.
lick. It's a big lick. He had to run off into the runoff area there and back up big time. And it might have damaged the steering wheel. Something went wrong there. But anyway, go back to the live pictures. Danny P is around the outside, side by side with Dylan Thomas. What a move. He has to send it. He got to risk it for the biscuit, as they say. He's got the inside line right now. It's going to force
Drives away
Robbie
from
around
Bradbury
the
like it's
outside there,
nothing.
and that is job done. You got to mention this man's 13 positions down. His qualifying position started from pit lane. The number 70 of Daniel is on a rampage.
It looks like Dave McDonald's had a big issue as well because he was right up there with Josh Harris, and all of a sudden he's crawling. I wonder if he's copped some damage. I think he might have gone into the back of Rebellion there, and that's what's slowing him down at the moment because he is well off the pace. And right behind him, there's a gaggle of cars heading his way, so he's going to have to keep a close eye on it. As they come around once again, we are not even halfway into this race, and already action aplenty. But the
Ties in pit
split-
road. Ties in pit road.
What's
I don't
happened
know why
there?
he's gone in. I don't imagine you need to. I heard it's 3 litres per lap. These boys are going to be burning. Ty's gone completely from that P2, P3 position, elected to go down, and the men from Melbourne said, I'm living in the sports capital of the world, and I'm going. Damon's gone in. Damon McDonald's gone in. So that'll give the position to
What
Mitch
is
Curry, who's
happening?
battling with. There's a whole bunch of
There's gotta be
maybe they got
damage.
damage.
There's got to be damage, right?
I'd say so. Damon's car's looking a little shaky, my friend. I've seen better days there for that Ford, but I couldn't quite see any. I'm gonna look down there. I can't run down there, mate. I'm not that good in my days to run down pit road and check out those cars. We need Ted. Ted's dead, baby. But we'll see. No, Ted's not dead, of course. Ted we're talking about for the Formula One. But keep an eye on Mitch Curry, Ryan Palmer. They're going for a two finale again. Don't forget Aiden Grench and Moran Smith is in their tailpipe, so that's where the hot zone is currently. Throw a blanket over it. Let's go barbecue in Chicago.
Absolutely. Matt McKeer copying the drive-through there for early contact back on lap 3. So the race control team catching up with that now. This pack that we're looking at right now, it's a real
And
mix.
Daniel's on the back of it too, mate. Not to
Here he
mention,
comes.
he's on a rampage of Dylan.
He's not
In
on the
fact,
back.
he might
He's
get
moving
Dylan.
through.
He got
Not waiting
Dylan.
around for anybody, is he?
No, Dylan's in a different split as well too, so he's got they're allowing that little battle to continue up the road there, and Aiden is next on the hit list there of Danny P. Ryan Smith, Mitch Curry up the road as well too, and what a job there for Mitch Curry, 5 positions gained. But I have to tell you, Dan's the man that's moving through the field here. He started almost back 11 positions from where he is, and he's on the back there of Aiden Grinch.
You've got to wonder why he started from pits tonight, don't you? There's got to have been something go wrong.
He was
with
camera time,
Southwest,
my
isn't it?
friend. Yeah,
Is that what it is? He just wants to make those
yeah.
overtakes.
He's
Can't,
like, let's bring Hollywood to Chicago.
Can't get the series title, so may as well get the most camera time that he can. That sounds about
He
right
could get
for
the
crowd
series
favourite.
title. How would you can't count him out on that one? Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
that'd be a
100
big
something
stretch
points
at this
down.
point, wouldn't it? Big
Well,
stretch.
at this point, yeah, but you never know. Remember the feature race, reverse grid. He's going to try to slice and dice his way through to P10. P10 is the gold place right now for Danny P to be.
That's where you want to be for
I'll
that
tell you
reverse
what,
grid.
with 11 or so laps to go, there's a good possibility that man can make his way up there.
Keep an eye on Mitch Curry further up the road. He is getting hassled by Ryan Smith, who wants to make his way through. Probably feel like he's being held up, although he's carrying a bit of damage to that front left. You can see the aerodynamic package not quite as smooth as it should be. Not going to play a huge part here at Chicago, but It's certainly going to be slowing him down ever so slightly. Doesn't seem to be bothering him right now as he gets right on the tail of Mitch Curry. Ryan Palmer is desperately trying to hold these guys off behind him as he heads up this pack. It's currently a battle for 4th in silver and a battle for 8th in gold, all in the one piece of track.
Yeah, and keep an eye on that. Like Ty Delaney that went into pit road and came back out is in P10, just ahead of these drivers at the moment by about 3 seconds and change. So whatever he did, whatever they elected to do for a position, is that a strategy? Is Ty planning on this reverse flip grid here for the Fishy Motorsports team to go, okay, Ty, you sacrificed some good points here, but further back, look at that. Danny P on Adrian. That could be very much job done, and it is job done.
Just makes it look easy at times, doesn't he? We'll see what the challenge is like, though, as he looks to make his move on Ryan. So both the gold split drivers are right next to each other there. Interestingly enough,
let's go Adrian. Adrian, unfortunately, just trumped the ball a little bit in that one, but Adrian, of course, is a difference. Whoa, big bunch up there. There's a bit of a collision on there.
That was the most unusual accident train I think I've ever seen. That's Ryan Palmer that's gone around. Is Mitch Curry stuck in it as well?
That's Adrian and Ryan Palmer going onesies. There's another one on the fence behind them. This could be safety car called. They're blocking the track at the moment. They're trying to spin around. There's a lot of action happening behind Damon McDonald Jackson. Action Jackson. Is it going to be cleared? The track is cleared. I don't imagine they will call a pace car, a safety car for that one. Adrian's all over the place at the moment. I'm sorry about that one then, HK16. But Adrian for the Victorian driver there, 22nd place at the moment there in big trouble.
He's dragging that front left. Sparks flying as he tries to limp that back. Yeah, he has to
pull off to the side, mate. He's in big trouble.
We're going to have to go back to look at the damage on that car.
Rubbin is racing, but Rubbin is rubbing the fender, and he got no steering at all. He's crab walking around this place. He's trying to bring it back to pit road. He can't even keep it out of the fence. He is struggling here, mate. You just got to bring it home. But the thing is, he's got about 3 corners to go, and he can do it. That's worth the risk it for the biscuit to get your way back to pit road. We got to remember, get off the racing line, allow these lads through.
Absolutely. We see further back, Rebellion and Bradbury now side by side. Not in the battle, but certainly going at it regardless. Dylan Thomas, further up, is not meant to be battling with Ryan Smith, but why not? Why don't they get amongst them? Let's go back and take a look, see what we can see from that accident.
Big hard tank slapper and bunched them all up, man. You know, it's like...
Let's keep an eye on Mitch Curry here, because it looks like he was one of the first. So Ryan Palmer's gone. Oh, there you go. Ryan Palmer's got it all, and they've just nose to tail, then Curry cuts across and gets collected by
somebody wanted to set up the inside there and say, oh, it's still the opportunity to still three positions. Then they're playing onesies, of course, like they're playing Rocket League at that point. And yeah, exactly. The problem is when the racing line, mate, you're following the racing line, and there's not much of the 90-degree turns here in Chicago that you can go places. Setting up the inside was a good risk, but
this is Jackson Austin coming through. I wonder if he just didn't have visibility of that incident. No, he's just overcooked it as well. There you go.
No, he saw the car there, mate. He's probably just trying to hit the anchors, and the car didn't agree. Danny P's putting pressure on Hayden. This is what I'm thinking. Danny P's going for P10 here, mate. We're 14 and 22. He's got plenty of time, but this man, knowing that these guys set up the inside three-way battle here. Got to remember, there's a sharp right-hand corner, left-hand corner coming up for the drivers. Stage left, stage right. And then you got this tricky section. This is going to be interesting right here at the moment, mate, because this is not just a sharp right hand. This is going to be elevation changes around the right-hand corner. Here we go. Danny P's putting pressure on.
So gets past Dean Power, but not without a lot of contact there. Power won't be happy with that, I'm sure. So we see pit stops happening for damage repairs. Danny P not backing it off. Dean Power a long way back now. Hey, Galliard, good to have you in again. I don't believe we've got Ryan Smith entry set up.
And Dean Power going through side by side behind them as well too. They're going to be going for 2 for now. This battle for P2 at 11 and 12. Remember, crucial places when it comes to that reverse grid.
Now, after that pit stop earlier from Ty Delaney, have a look at the gap between Jamie Dyke in second and Nicholas Garriosh in third. 25, almost 26 seconds. Coleman and Dyke are out in front, and Coleman's even managed to extend 3 seconds ahead of his teammate Jamie Dyke. That is a humongous lead in such a realistically fairly short race. It's a big ask for anyone to pull those two in.
well, DC doing DC things, but the thing is with Ty taking the early pit stop, how's it going to work out with that? The Fishy Motorsports can have one thing to get their team across the line. Another thing, what the drivers are going to dictate who wants to be the drivers' champion, because they are so close together and they can't. How much is this team effort going to come into play in a factor with Bathurst and a few more the other race around the corner as well?
It's a good question, isn't it? I don't know what the strategy is here, because Delaney, like, sitting 5th in gold, but he's moved up to 7th on track now, so he's certainly not hanging around in 10th looking for that reverse grid. He must have just copped enough damage there that he needed to make that quick stop. It was only a 4.5 second stop, which is about right for a fast repair. So
I think Ty did have a little tank slap or someone along the line there. We'll find out a little bit later if those drivers will let them know, because, I mean, of course, if we speak to DC and Jamie Dyke in the post-race interviews, they're going to let us know about their teammate. Ty Delaney, we're talking about, they're running P7 at the moment, as all the actions happening all in place. Thank you very much for joining here for the MC Motorsports V8 Supercars Round 7 here at Chicago Land, Sweet Home Chicago. Please give us a like and subscribe. Please chat us. I like the chat that's out there from the drivers and fans and supporters, spotters even. Give us a little bit of juicy inside information.
All around, really.
Uncle Biggles is always listening.
Hey, just to answer your question there, Gally, around wildcards. So one of the strict rules here is that we don't accept new drivers in the last few rounds of the season, because, of course, these guys battling for the championship don't want to find themselves racing someone they're not familiar with who really has no skin in the game, so to speak.
Yeah, but sign up for new season, mate. Even if you're already an esports driver and you have 10k already, he's still not going to let you in, mate, because it's a championship round. Not because you're a bad driver. Oh, there's a broken car completely smashed somewhere on the circuit. I was kind of keeping an eye around Dean Powell, but
is that Josh Harris?
No, there's absolutely wrecked one as well too. Josh Harris has gone in. Maybe he's seen that car that's busted, man. I probably guarantee it's a Ford too.
Let's go back and take a look. Chayton Byron's had a big hit.
I think much
that he's been unable to.
I think this is like called the fire brigade out there, mate. There's ambulances and everything around here. This is a big one.
Oh, just straight into the wall.
It's cooked the engine. If I'm not mistaken, there it is. It's all busted up there.
He's trying to get it rolling again.
How's that not a safety car? Look, it's wrecked.
Absolutely
cooked,
destroyed.
mate.
Josh Harris comes flying through there and perhaps just
he's off the racing line. He's off the racing line. That may be the reason why the race control said, "Nah, you're okay, mate." Jake Rebillard right now putting pressure on Robbie. He's sending it on the inside of Robbie, mate. And saying, "I'm back, mate. I'm back."
These guys aren't even meant to be battling. They're not in the same split.
It doesn't matter, mate. When you're in street Chicago, it's go for gold. You ever been South Chicago in real life, mate? It's a battleground.
Yeah, look, I can't say that I have, but I've heard things, to say the least. This battle continues.
From a man that's lived in most cities across the United States of America, mate. Chicago is, it's an indication right now of how it is in the streets. As Jake trying to put pressure on Robbie. Still, are you going to set up the inside there? He might turn Robbie if he's not taking a lot enough space going those marbles at the moment. Might be in trouble with Robbie putting he says Pacific Esports Motor Racing here in the mid-east of the United States of America. He says, you got to try everything you can at the moment, Jake. Get around me. Jake going to go around the outside, hits the marbles, hits the fence. That's not the way you do it there, Jake.
And does all of the work that he's been putting in there for laps. Meanwhile, further up, the train continues. Ryan Smith ahead of Dean Power, Dylan Thomas and Daniel Harrod battling it out for 3rd and 4th in the silver split right behind them. And, Galliard, of course, Liam Jensen. Of course, Liam. I apologise. I should remember that username by this point, you would think. But
one job,
mate, I know, one job. Remember everybody's name all the time.
That's okay. Thank you very much for the chatter out there. Yep.
The new GT3 season is merely, a month away at this point. And there is some pretty special news coming around that, so stay tuned. We will probably talk a little bit more about that next week during the Bathurst 400. But some interesting developments in the GT3 space. Do you think we have time
during the Bathurst 500 to mention that, considering how well these gladiators are battling their ways around this arena? Yeah, of course, stay tuned for that one. as Mr. 217. 7 positions gained there is battling for P12 at the moment there on Dylan Thomas, and that's crucial too, my friend, because you've got a gaggle of cars at the road. Everyone some FD power. If anything goes pearl-shaped with those drivers, that's a P10 up for grabs. P10 equals reverse grid. It was
Does indeed.
a good placement. You know how difficult it is to overtake in Chicago. We've seen this clearly right now.
Tell you what, the entry's having issues tonight. Absolutely, the Alpine Pro Racing team. Adrian Gresh now a black flag. So, following his teammates' example, as we see Dylan Thomas dropping down the order. What's happened there? He's just disappeared. It looks as though he may have actually had a disconnection.
Dylan's had somebody.
That's really unfortunate.
Somebody's fired up the microwave and interfered with his Wi-Fi, and he is done dusted for now. That's unfortunate. I hate to see that from any driver, of course, but all this effort in here to Chicagoland and deep into the championship, and then all of a sudden, you know, your dad just resets the router because he can't connect to Facebook.
You've got to have Facebook. You've got to have Facebook. Here comes Todd Laney looking for the pass on Aaron Gilbert.
Now, wonder if Aaron knows at the moment. Now, I was speaking to Aaron earlier. Aaron's not going to yield this one, mate. He knows
absolutely
that
not.
He wants his teammate, of course. He wants the man. Daniel's only a couple. See, Daniel's in the background. Daniel's the purple car. So he's got to do teammate games. He has to hold up Ty.
Gonna have to make it past first.
No, he will hold up Ty, mate. He's got to play team games. He knows that he's not in the championship hunt as high up currently at the moment as Ty is. Reese Wakefield's just behind them. So has a solid job here to do for his team at the moment. He's got to keep, Mr. Mercedes not throwing headphones around there, of course. Your team game first, of course. That's what it's all about. In fact, what he's doing actually is slowing him up there to bring Danny in, and I think this is clever tactics.
See, that's clever really tactics from the team.
Yeah,
Aaron Gilbert, Team Jenk Shifter's entry. I'm wondering what his play is. He's trying to pull away from Ty Delaney. That's not happening. Reese Wakefield really needs to just keep the pressure on and keep Ty looking in his mirrors, because here comes Danny P. And this group of 3 have all of a sudden become a group of 4. Danny P now a second and a half off the back of Aaron Gilbert and closing quickly.
See, Aaron's going to be switching teams at the moment. He's going to be allying with the MC Motorsports. He has to ally with them. So he's got to slow them up, because he goes, they're going to work together, like, would you say, in elections, isn't it? We're going to join forces at the moment, trying to beat Fishy Motorsports.
Of the winning?
That's what it is. They're going to beat Fishy Motorsports. The only way for them to do it is to ally. And I think they're doing a solid job from Aaron to know that the only way he can actually keep Fishy Motorsports behind him of Ty is to allow Reese and Danny P to get into the picture here, and that's exactly what's happening in your pictures currently in the screen.
They're right amongst it. We'll come back to that in just a second, because Jake Rebelliard's looking for another move. Robbie Bradbury, he just cannot get it done here tonight. You got to wonder how much time Rebelliard's burning. He's in P3. He's got a solid lead over Lofton, another 12 seconds back, but he spent so much time there. Now Delaney, all of a sudden, Reese Wakefield's managed to get past. There's been an error there somewhere from Ty Delaney. Let's see if we can find that and catch up on what's just happened.
Oh, this is on, mate, isn't it? You got Ty and Danny going for it tooth and nail here. This is huge, because Ty is so much more in the championship points than Danny needs, but Danny knows a chunk of points right now deep in the championship are huge. And it's not just that, it's pride. It's I am better than you kind of scenario. And Ty's not going to want to let that one slide with Danny P, but Ty hits the fence. Hard. And Danny's going to try to capitalize on that one. Somebody spun around the outside in there in the inside apron. No problemo for these drivers to get past. However, they continue on this battle. You can't take it away from DC, mate. He's leading this race by a chunk of change. We are in the penultimate lap.
I believe that was the SP Tools entry of Daniel Harrod as Danny P pushes past. I think Ty Delaney's just given that one up. He's copped some damage there.
But tire lifting gives him P8 as well too, remember, in this reverse grid. So strategy might be a play there for the Fishy Motorsports entry, because remember, he's got DC and Jamie Dyke up the road there, no problemo for them too. I don't think Nicholas has any chance of catching him 28 seconds down the road, last lap.
No, it's a big ask at this point, isn't it? Really can't see it happening. Race control just advising a 10-second penalty for Danny P.
Oh, that's going to be big time.
That is going to hurt.
Oh, actually, they might put him around P10. It might put him in P10.
That's certainly not something he's planned for, I'm sure.
No. Well, you can't plan for a race control. Give me a 10-second penalty if you are, man. Well, Danny P, I'm going to take you to the stock markets here in Chicago then, because clearly you're the man to invest in. But I tell you what, if you want to invest in a race and winning this one, DC, mate, because DC done all the DC things.
Absolutely.
DC
we've
in a championship.
Virtually nothing from Mr. Coleman here this evening, because he's been so dominant. There's been nothing to see. But here he comes around the final corner for the last time. And David Coleman takes the win as he crosses the line here in Chicago. Jamie Dyke will be P2. And then P3, Nicholas Garrioch from Frog Leap Racing, yet to make it to the line. As he is a long way back. All of these drivers still on the previous lap that you see coming through right now. The spread of drivers here in Chicago has been just massive. As you see, some of these drivers just making it across now. We're still waiting on Garrioch making it to the line. We've got one car, that's one of the Alpine Pro entries, making it through the pits there. That looks like, is it Matt Bakir going through the pits there, so he'll collect the points for seeing the checkered flag. Nicholas Garrioch finally crosses the line, and here comes the rest of the field. Reese Wakefield missing Aaron Gilbert by just a couple of tenths in the end. And yeah, look, a big night of racing ahead of us. We've still got 44 laps to go after this, Biggles.
Hayden Gilbert is the man that's going to be good for the silver split. You're going to finish in P9. Doesn't seem like a lot, but remember, it's a different split. It's good for him in the championship, because Scott Stevens finished way down in P25. So, and that championship, which is very, very, very slicey and dicey when it comes to points, is crucial for them. I still have no idea why Ty, who finished in P8 in this race, gave up crucial top 3 positions and points to give it away to DC and to Jamie Dyke. Both those drivers are behind him in the championship, but he doesn't matter. He thinks he's confident on that one in our feature race coming up.
Yeah, it's honestly bizarre, but hey, it is what it is, I suppose. Let's take a look at how they finished as we bring up the results. So the gold split, in the end, David Coleman only 6 seconds in it, which is surprising. Let's bring him on in to the booth. Mr. Coleman, your charge towards the top continues. How are you doing this evening, my friend?
Mate, I'm sweating it. It's pretty cool, yeah. That was bloody tough. That was good fun, but yeah, I was a bit, I don't know. I'm a bit knackered after that, mate.
Well, you've still got 44 laps to go. I hope you've got something left in the tank now.
Mate, open your window in Chicago. It's windy, right? You get the wind into your cockpit.
Oh, that's it. Hopefully we can get the grid extended, have a bit of a break, but nah, I'll be right. Yeah, that was a tough race. That was actually a lot better than I thought. The lap traffic was a little bit difficult, but everyone was pretty good. So, yeah, no complaints.
So how exactly did the 3 Fishies cars get out to what was at one point a 28-second lead over P4 there? What on earth have you been doing this week in practice, mate?
We've probably only really done about 60 to lap, but this is probably, as the boys would say, a bit of a pet track. So the flow works for me. We're all on the same set, probably minus some brake cylinder sizes. So it's probably purely just probably driving and some equipment. So credit to Jamie Dyke, he's still on a Fanatec 2.5 and not even load cell pedals. So for him to do what he did, he kept the pressure on.
So it's not the equipment, it's the driver. You guys did a fantastic launch. You covered off everybody that are going to challenge you into turn 1 and so forth, and after that you took off. Why did Ty box? Can you give us a little insight?
He got a meatball, I think he clipped the wall and it might have bent the steering or something.
That'll do it.
Yeah, but he's probably in a better position for the start of this than we are. So,
are you worried about him, DC? Now, is this going to be game on? Fishy Motorsports, you guys are looking solid, of course. Top 3 in the championship going into this one. Ty now.
If you boys couldn't tell by the start, it was definitely game on. So, like,
Really?
I was happy to have Dyke between me because I know Dyke's obviously in third. So, yeah, we tie for that. That was a bit of a hang on moment, but I know.
Is this official Fishy Motorsports game on from now on? There is no team orders. It's not about getting the Fishy entrance. You've got.
Mate, it's been game on since Detroit, so
Right, okay.
with the Dyke thing. So we're still sharing sets. I might have sent a set up to them and put them on wets just to see if they notice. But
DC, you're going to win the championship. Don't give me any more.
we'll see how we go. It's going to be tough. Like
You're now first in the championship after this round, I would imagine. Then you can't give me any more of those little DC secrets, man. Come on.
No, it's good to know. It's now the target's on me, so I'm tipping I'm going to have one Jamie Dyke and one Ty Delaney after me, as well as all these other boys. Like, I'm sure, all race is quick. I'm sure everyone wants to win, so this next race is going to be quite interesting.
Well, we'll look forward to it. David Coleman, your win in race 1 it takes you closer to the championship. We'll let you get ready for race number 2. Go get yourself a drink in the next couple of minutes, eh?
Thanks, boys. Just so you know, it's on between the fishies, so that's
We'll
why we're all
keep
different
our eye on
colours. So it's definitely on, but we'll see how we go. Hopefully, we're talking again at the end of the race.
Jarrett, hook, line, and sinker. We just heard.
Let's see how
See
it
you,
goes.
boys.
Well done, David. Cheers. So, Biggles, the results there in race 1, David Coleman and Jamie Dyke from Fishy taking the first 2 spots. Nicholas Garriosh third home in the gold split, and then the rest behind them, a long stretch back from those front 2. You can see the gaps just huge, but the points the same no matter what. Let's talk silver for just a second as well. Seth Stevens, an awesome drive from him, snuck that one in 14 and almost 15 seconds ahead there of Hayden Cupid. Just kept his nose clean, and a very, very solid win in the silver split. Jake Rebelliard coming home in third, but take a look at the separation in the silver split. Only 4 drivers finishing on the lead lap there. Everyone else down 1. It really speaks to how difficult this race has been tonight.
It's been big for Hayden. Hayden is taking a chunk of points big time out of that. In fact, I'd say he'd be the leader right now in points provisionally on Scotty. And Jake as well too. Maybe just jumped Scotty on that one. Seth Stevens, on those points because Scott Stevens, they got the race win. He was all down in P14, but that's a chunk of change because they're how close that is in silver. So it ain't out. Jake doing solid Jake positions there. P3 is P3 going in this one. P3 finishing this one. It's more about those other drivers of Hayden and now Steph Stevens who he has to worry about. I think he can go into this one and even think about Steph Stevens being a challenger, but he is. And just like that, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Championship leader or Scott Stevens finishing at a poor result, but then going to reverse that grid, my friend. It's all upside down when it comes to Chicago.
And we are just about to jump into race 2 here. We will talk to you about that reverse grid in just a moment. Harry Dodds, welcome back to the chat. Good to see you again, my friend. Yeah, absolutely. No team orders from Fishy. These guys have been into it since we raced in Detroit at Belle Isle. And tonight,
they
already
say
showing.
that, mate. They say that, but
look, it's hard to
what about when Danny
separate.
P comes on the inside between them? There, are they going to be like, "Oh, we're not going to talk to each other, go on," or we're going to help each other out? I think there's still going to be team orders at play.
This is how the grid looks. Robbie Bradbury and Hayden Cupid will be up front ahead of Ty Delaney and Danny P. Then Reese Wakefield and Aaron Gilbert. Seth Stevens and Nicholas Garriosh behind them. Jamie Dyke and David Coleman rounding out the top 10 there. Dean Powell and Jackson Austin just outside them. So it's a reverse top 10, of course, finishing position, not class position. In that one, we take a look a little bit further back. Jake Rebelliard and Darren Lofgren are there, as well as Ryan Smith and Nathan Bowman. Adrian Gresham, Henry King ahead of Martin Lipsky and Josh Harris. Then Simon Caplett and Dame McDonald. Thomas Wilson, Ryan Palmer a long way back ahead of Scott Stevens, who's got a lot of work to do here. Mitch Curry also back there. Matt Bacchio and Ronald Long from Alpine Pro ahead of Daniel Harrod and Dylan Thomas. Then Aaron James and Chayton Byron. Josh Van Treek not starting in the first race, and I don't expect that we will see him in the second here tonight. But let's go down to the grid as we get ready to go racing once again. And Biggles, I reckon we're in for quite a show here in our second race. 44 laps. It's got a lot coming, doesn't it?
I'll tell you what, keep an eye on Ty Delaney and Danny P, P3, P4. All right, that's going to be a huge thing. Reese Wakefield in P5. Aaron Gilbert, the team Jinx Shifters, he was doing a solid job there in P6 on this one. Steph needs a good result here. Yeah, double S, mate. He's not the SS Commodore, but he will be the 221 machine to look out there in P7. So good job there. And of course, you're looking at the fact that DC and Jamie Dyke running in P9 and P10. So it's all about that first corner, my friends, all about getting the job done. And on top of it, gonna have to take a pit stop because I don't think these guys could run any more than 27 laps around Chicagoland.
Yeah, it's a big ask to try and squeeze 44 laps. I mean, it might be possible, but you wouldn't think so, especially with the, what is it, 81% restriction on fuel that these guys are running, if memory serves.
I got the information, mate, when I went down that garage there and shoved my microphone in there and had a little bit of a geezer, and that's what I heard. 3 laps, a lap fuel, and that would calculate to about 27 laps you do before you have to go down pit road. But we'll see. Ask Ty, mate. He just went down there anyway because of a bit of damage. Anything can happen.
Now, it looks like Danny P so far not back on the grid just yet. So we're waiting on, there we go, he's jumped in now. We've got the last of the drivers starting to jump in with just a few seconds to go before we go racing.
Damn, you got to be in the winner, Danny. Come on.
We're just about to go under starters orders and race number 2 getting ready to kick off here. Just a word to the drivers. It looks like Danny P's the only one who's changed his pit box colours. Can some of you please change from those green marquees in the background?
Yeah, you've heard the boss's orders. Otherwise, we're going to end the broadcast. That's it.
We'll end it. Well,
anyway,
that's probably a bit much.
Racing.
Here we go. We're going racing again. 44 laps here in Chicago, and we are underway. Ty Delaney gets a massive start, so he's going to be looking to pass Brad Bradbury immediately, and he already has. Here we go. Down into the first turn. This is going to be chaos, I'm sure. These drivers have got a feel of this track now, but everyone on the hunt for these last points available this evening, and you can see them spreading out. Big slide. That's Wakefield. That's going to cause massive issues.
It will.
Here's the pile-up of cars. Take a look at this.
Yeah, that's got to be a caution. Maybe even it's blocked the whole track, but there's nobody behind, so maybe they're going to elect that one. No, we've got a caution. We have a caution called from race control, and that was probably very, very clever because you've got about half a dozen to 6 to 1 to another cars absolutely bottlenecked. Like it's almost like going in Chicago, mate, on a Sunday afternoon after a holiday weekend. It is chaos.
Yeah, that resembled my commute to work this morning. I reckon that was pretty rough. Let's go back and take a look.
What about Ty's launch, mate? Ty's in the lead. He just left everybody. We're gonna look at this one. The good thing about having a caution every once in a while is that you get to recap what just happened.
So this is, keep your eye on Reece Wakefield on the outside there. Pushes hard. He just locks the brakes up, doesn't he? Gets on the brakes there just a little too hard. And then
too early.
And Seth Stevens just sneaks around the back, but there's chaos as everyone tries to go wide to avoid it. Have a look at it though. Wakefield just
gets himself around there. He gets up the inside there and says bye-bye.
Jeez, that's cheeky to say the least.
But the caution was called at that point, so we'll actually determine what position he will get in according to that, because drivers all boxed up there like, you know, the Emu Wars returned to Australia. That's the situation, what happened, and of course they had nowhere to go. Everybody pulled into the escape road essentially at that point. So we'll get you some pictures and some recaps on that situation, but I'll tell you what, you're going to go have a look at Ty's launch at the start as well too. Listen to the recap. There is the outside run. Look at Ty, just 1, 2, 3. Put your foot on the floor. Gonna get down. Tyres get down, and bango, Ty's gone. Taking candy from a baby.
That was, they just walked away, and it's a real shame that the safety car's out. Was to see the BMW M2 safety car on track. Honestly, just gonna say this, best looking safety car that is on the iRacing service right now. I love the thing.
Oh, no, mate. Well, I mean, yeah, on the iRacing, yeah, of course, I would give it to the Corvette.
I'm not
saying they run the NASCAR, but yeah.
Well, yes, but that's not on iRacing after all.
Yeah, come on, iRacing, pay attention.
Safety cars go. It's very cool. I'm a fan. So we're going to be on the safety car for a while here.
Jared drives a BMW, by the way, in real life, so of course he's happy.
BMW, if you're looking to sponsor a broadcast or anything like that, you know,
simple
just give us a shout.
Anyway, that's what do you guys think out there in the chat? That's interesting. It'll switch things around at the moment, because now the Fishy Motorsports entry once again is in the lead of this race, which means leading equals dominate. Is there any way we can pull Ty up into a chat during the situation? Because I want to know his strategy races. There's a lot of buildings around here in Chicago, so we're downtown. Why did Ty foresee this? Like, is the Emperor in the Star Wars series?
He can't possibly
foresee this happening, and he knew that all this was going to happen on turn 1. Turn 2, actually.
Can't possibly have seen that coming. That was
you're looking at the man that's leading the championship in points. That's won so many races.
It was until race 1. It's going to be very interesting to see where the points finish up at the end of this race, because David Coleman right now, there he is all the way back here behind his teammate Jamie Dyke. He is in P9, so he's up 1 from the start, but there's still a lot of work to do to get up amongst the points, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see.
Another big gainer in this one, my friend, is Manny in the Alpine Pro Racing team. In P16, he's gained 11 places. Go back to Harold there in the 217, 18th place. He's
just
gained
see
11.
Just there he is, side to side. Just
we got pit stops too. Thomas, Ryan Palmer, and Dylan
Thomas. That's an interesting
choice,
because you're not going to make it to the end here, surely. 40 laps.
No, mate,
really?
but they could do short stops, expecting another potential safety car, and then they'll stream it on by when people have to go down to pit road again. I think that's not a bad. Hey, you got nothing to lose when you're back there, mate. You know what I mean? You got track position if it pans out. They've done a short little fuel stint. Dylan Thomas, Thomas Wilson, and Ryan Palmer. That's not a law firm. That is your drivers have gone to pit road. That's your Fishy Motorsports entrance, of course, of Dylan Thomas. He's being right up there in race 1. The man is right up there in the points too. So he's thinking about his championship hopes and dreams, and everything's going to continue here. We've got a couple of races to go at the MC Motorsport series powered by MCSA on here on the very simple but very fantastic broadcasting network.
We've just got word from race control. The safety car is coming in on this lap. So lights out on the safety car. He'll be looking to come in to the pits very, very soon. But just have a look at the bumps these guys are going over. Like, I've seen dips worse than that, but not without speed bumps on the road.
I have Six Flags. It's Six Flags, mate, down the road, but not here in Chicagoland. I mean, if you're talking about the Griswolds, you're going to have to drive all the way to LA to go to Griswold, Wallywold, if you want to go over those roller coaster bumps. But it's scary to have a Fishy Motorsports entry of Ty in the lead of this race at the moment, because you know he's going to be gone.
We've got just about a third of the lap to go. I just want to very quickly bring up the championship points. That's how it stands right now. Ty Delaney's actually dropped back to 3rd after race 1. David Coleman and Jamie Dyke ahead of him. There is not a lot in it though.
Now where's DC in the field right now? DC P9.
Yeah, so a lot can happen still. I'm looking forward to seeing where we finish up at the end of the night, because of course no more drop rounds. Everything counts from here.
Danny P, P4. Remember, he's the one that could challenge the Fishy Motorsports entry from the Antique Motorsports. He's the only one here, and I think he's got the crowd. He's got the crowd behind him here in Chicago. They're flowing over here. They got their tickets, of course. They went down there and they paid good money there for tickets to come and see Danny P. Right, let's go green.
Let's go racing again. Why not? As we come down to turn 1, let's see if we can go a little bit better this time through. And you can already see there's a little bit of compression in the field as we get a brake lock up. This is, of course, the fateful corner. Seth Stevens, that's Dean Powell having a big look up the inside of Rebellion. Makes a stick in the end, but here they come. So far, so good. A little bit of a touch with the wall. Huge damage there on the front of can only assume that was Matt McKeer or Adrian Bresch in the Alpine Pro entry. We didn't quite catch it as we see Simon Caplet goes in for a pit stop. Interesting timing on that one from Simon, but maybe he's picked up some damage there, or maybe this is part of a bigger plan that we're just not quite aware of at this stage.
Yeah, we don't know at the moment, but Jamie Dyke knows at the moment. He got a bit of action with Danny P. Robbie's going around there. Early action here for the battle at the P4, P5 positions. Switcheroos got a little bit too deep into the corner here in the sweet home of land of Chicago. Let's get the blues, let's get the jazz, let's get the guitars out here, because I tell you what, we're strumming to the beat. Yeah,
big man, Jake Billiard into the wall in the background. He's somehow got it back out of there, but it looked like he went into the wall hard.
Keep an eye on Danny P putting pressure right now on Aaron. He knows that he needs to beat the Fishy Motorsports entry because Ty's up the road. Ty gets going. Ty is gone. I guarantee that right now. He's just at the fastest lap, of course, on as Aaron Grinch goes into pit road. But Danny P needs to put the pressure on huge. He needs to not let Azza, or the other Aaron, Gilbert, get up the road. Aaron's up 3 places at the moment with the 203 machine. And Hayden Gilbert still into that P2 position. But here it is, putting the pressure on early. The crowd favourite, Danny P, hunting for P3.
He's absolutely in amongst it. Hayden Gilbert somehow still sticking it out there in P2 on track and just surrounded by gold split entries. You can see in the background there, Jamie Dyke starting to reel in Danny P and Aaron Gilbert here, and not too far behind him is David Coleman, but movement happening in the back. This is the first of the real battle packs, and it's headed up by Jamie Dyke, David Coleman, then Bradbury and Garriosh. Seth Stevens caught in the mix. You can see him there in the yellow and black Team 15 entry, and Jackson Austin and Dean Power behind him. So it is all gold at the front end of this field right now, but just a couple of pretenders, perhaps. Certainly making their presence felt, though, tonight as they mix it up with some of the quicker drivers here
it's
on
gold,
track.
Jerry. It's gold. As Daniel's trying to find his way past Aaron, he needs to. He needs to at this point because you've got 2 Fishy Motorsports entries behind him. Once those Fishy Motorsports entries gang up on him, he's surrounded by Fishy Motorsports. He's got to get past Team Jinxsters. He's got to get past Sideways Esports entry of Hayden Gilbert up the road. This is where it comes to push, comes to shove. This is championship hopes and championship dreams are side by side. Little mistake from Aaron. Dazza. Daniel has to seize it, but he will go up the inside there. Got the pace, got the speed, got no damage. P3 for Danny.
So fast there too as well. Just straight across and made it very, very clear that position was his. Now Aaron Gilbert's got to watch the rearview mirror because Jamie Dyke is right on his tail and he'll be looking to do the same. The gap now almost 5 seconds out to Ty Delaney though.
Yeah, Ty's just putting a bank of laps. It's not that Danny needs at the moment. Danny needs to worry about trying to catch Hayden. He's got breathing space. That's the key, isn't it? Because he's got the Fishy Motorsports entries of Jamie Dyke and David DC on his tailpipe down further in the field there. He needs the breathing space. He needs to sit down, focus, try to catch Hayden, and then try to catch Ty up the road there.
Have a look at Nicholas Garriosh on the back of Bradbury right now. The pressure he's feeling is immense. I cannot imagine being that close behind another car in this canyon that is Chicago street course. You've got nowhere to go if someone puts a foot wrong. You know, you even remotely mess up those braking markers and you're right into the back of that car in front. It takes a lot of faith in your fellow racers to do that.
And Denny C just got past Hayden from P2. Sorry to cut you off on that one. That's another thing that's going on. Keep your eyes on that picture, of course. So Dan the man got that job done, but go back to those pictures, of course, because there's other action happening with other gladiators here around Chicago. As Steph Stevens is trying to hold off Action Jackson, Brian Smith, Jake Rebillard there in P13, 12th and 11th. That's all going on. I'm just going to give you the feedback, of course, that Dan the man's up in the P2. But, of course, it's all about the Sideways Esports entrance of holding off a bunch of Jinx shifters and Fishy Motorsports entries further down the field.
Scott Stevens is making a move up 10 positions since the start. So certainly looking to redeem himself in this race. But right behind, have a look at this battle pack. I don't think we've got enough room on screen for the number of drivers that are actually involved in this right now. Bradbury, Garriosh, Powell, Stevens, Austin Smith and Rebellion all in amongst it. Robbie Bradbury getting plenty of attention up the front end of this pack as Nicholas Garriosh continues to hassle him and look for a way past. He's been just hovering off that rear bumper.
He's going to hold off Nicholas, setting his nose up the inside there for the Juice to Frog Juice Racing entrance. He's going to want to leap his play. He wanted to leap it on the place, doesn't he? At the moment he has to because the Dina Deans is behind him. Steph Stevens, the man that needs crucial points in that silver split, just down the road there in the B10.
There's a lot of battles going on. Take an eye here. Aaron Gilbert, Jamie Dyke and David Coleman now both on his tail. So, you know, the view forward from David Coleman's car, he's just been reeling them in slowly but surely.
Yeah, watch out for
it's
DC Talpo,
gonna
mate.
be close
He's
here.
on a hunt. He's a man that knows how to win races and knows how to support the Fishy Motorsports entries. Jamie Dyke's up the road from him, so of course they're looking good. They know that Ty on the radio, they got him. They know Ty's in the lead of this race. Ty's trying to build a gap of gaps they can from Danny P. That's the key to him. 4 seconds and change is the lead between them. There is expected pit stops. They have to take care of the fuel scenario. We don't know if this is going to go ahead.
Nicholas Garrioch just into the back of Robbie Bradbury there. He was side to side under brakes earlier. Here he goes. He's got the overlap. Is this going to be enough to get it done? Gets squeezed up against the wall. Bradbury taunting him here at Chicago. I tell you what, it's tough, right? There's a point at which, as you see Garrioch hit the wall, he's pushing so hard to get past Bradbury. Feels like he's being held up, but you've really got to pick your moment, and it's going to rely on Bradbury making a mistake, and that's just not happening at the moment. He is so solid.
They're fighting for their own split championships here. They don't have to just go move over and say, okay, you're a gold driver, and then just go, yeah, you go, mate. No, it's absolutely go for gold here, even if you're on the silver split. You've got to not give up this position. You've got your team battles at play here. And I'll tell you what, Hayden, Aaron, Jamie, DC, Robbie, Nicholas, they're all at it, mate. You can see it in your pictures.
And here we are once again. Gilbert, Dyke and Coleman still going at it. It's not changed in terms of the layout on track, but Danny P, look at him off in the distance. Just slowly but surely putting more and more distance between himself and this pack here. And he's starting to reel Ty Delaney in. That gap down to now just 3.2 and falling. So whether Delaney's backing it off to try and conserve some fuel or get a little bit more out of his tyres,
Scott
I'm not
Stevens
sure.
on Josh Harris at the moment. Big battle for P12 and 13-14. Remember, Scott Stevens needs a huge result here at the moment too for the HJR Jinx Shifters. He's on the 80 HD machine there of Josh Harris. Trying to put pressure into him. Trying to bumper him in the corner. Trying to bumper him into a mistake. Get him on the marbles. A little early in the marbles, but those marbles will play off. We're only on 9:44.
Yeah, still got another 3 times this to go in the race tonight. It's been one hell of an opening, as we see Jamie Dyke now with an opportunity as he gets closer. Takes a big look up the inside, but not quite enough yet to make the move on Aaron Gilbert. That Jinx Shifters entry tapping the wall and unfortunately scraping up that gorgeous paintwork. And that's also going to cost him a little bit of pace, a little bit of time. Millimeters there separating that left-hand door from making contact with the wall. And I think all 3 of these drivers are probably going to be a little unnerved by the fact that Hayden Cubert seems to be having just a couple of connection issues now and then that are causing him to just remove himself from existence on track. It's terrifying at these sort of speeds.
Hopefully not here in Sweet Home Chicago. You don't want to be the old wind shifting happening in the wrong direction at the moment. As you can see, Hayden Gilbert is in that P3 position, but he's got a gaggle cast behind him. He's got the Team Jinx Shifters, and he has both the Fishy Motorsports entries, which are 2 drivers you do not want battling for their championship hopes there. Jamie Dyke and David Coleman. Apparently, as we just heard from race control from the drivers themselves, game on. Those drivers have no team orders. It is who finishes first, finishes first.
And look, it's been that way for a little while. It's not surprising to hear when it comes to the Fishes Motorsport entries. They absolutely trade tips and setups and all that kind of thing, but get them out on track and they are all here to win. So we see
I don't believe it for a heartbeat, my friend. I think that's all
so
a
cynical.
bunch of that's what I'm saying.
So cynical, Biggles. Honestly.
I'm just saying it's all like that. You said earlier in the stream, you said it that it's like, you're pretending, but I still keep an eye on the pitches here at the moment. 3 wide almost, as you see that good gaggle for P4 at the moment. Jamie Dyke and DC, they're going to go for it. Albert Gilbert's in the mix there for the Team Jixers. He's going to be a big player here in a big player moment in this championship here for the MC Motorsports V8 Supercars around Sweet Home Chicago.
This is Scott Stevens. He's made it past Josh Harris and now looking to move up. He's got a long way to go, though.
We have a caution.
Now, what's happened there?
I don't see particularly, my friend, but somebody
Darren
is...
Loughlin. Looks like it might be Darren Loughlin that's gone around.
He's got around, my friend. He's gone straight.
He's had a lot of damage before that somewhere.
You slowed that down just to make it easy on the impact, didn't you?
Let's go back and take a look at. So he's actually had an earlier incident. Let's call some damage. Here it is.
Mobile on that one, mate. He's probably texting, driving at the moment. That's not what you want to do. Full speed. Look at this.
Oh, gets it very sideways in that front end.
That's deja vu. We've seen that
hit.
a few times, hasn't it, mate? Too much on the marbles. That's what drivers are talking about on the exit. Snapped the steering rod. He is no hope of bringing this one home. Probably I'd have to retire it, but he's trying his best because you don't want to get towed. And that's credible.
Yeah, that is not the way that front right wheel should
so
be
you can
pointing.
say bye-bye to Ty's fucking... my apologies on that one. Ty's... I said trucking. Ty's trucking advantage that he had is gone, mate. It's all done and dusted.
It is. He's had that lead for so long, and now all of a sudden, behind that BMW safety car again, and look who it is, Danny P, crowd favourite in P2. And then, of course, Jamie Dyke and David Coleman, all of a sudden, no work to do to close that gap. They're right there. It's all going to be down to the jump that Delaney gets when the safety car does release them shortly.
Now, do they take a pit stop, mate? Because that's the thing. They're not going to have enough gasoline. The drivers from the top 18 have not been down pit road. Thomas Wilson has been down pit road. And Mitch Curry hasn't. So, and Dylan Thomas and Thomas Wilson, that's not law firm. That is the two drivers. Fishy Motorsports and Alpine. And then you go back to Ryan Palmer in P22. He's taking the pit stop, but they took him in lap 2. We don't know how much gas they put in there. It's a big unknowns here in this fantastic championship battle. Lap 12 of 44. It's a pit stop. It's a caution. What's going to go on?
And there's your count of pit stops. So very, very few people having made their stop. You were talking earlier, you said to the Antic Motorsports team, Biggles, and they reckon about 27 laps out of a tank.
Yes, sir.
27
yes,
laps
sir.
right now would only get you to lap number 39. If you're going in for a full tank right now, you're still looking at a splash and dash later. You've got to ride this one out, surely. You can't go into the pits right now.
Well, they didn't tell me about this unscheduled pit stop and a caution car. They did tell me that tyre degradation not that much of a factor. They told me that David's a target. DC we're talking about in P5. I'm talking about from the Petantic of Antic Racing Motorsports. So this is what they're targeting.
Jamie Dyke goes in.
Yeah.
So he's going to risk it.
Fuel saving, they said, is a key factor here when you're running. And they also said that, you're a fantastic commentator and they love your broadcasting.
Go on, pump it up, mate. Pump it up. No, here we go. So Jamie Dyke, we know that he's very, very capable of putting in a massive fuel-saving effort. I mean, realistically, by the time the safety car's done, you're only going to be looking at 30 laps. That's not impossible. If we're talking 27 laps at race
Jamie
pace.
Dyke, mate. That's what
Jamie Dyke. He's going to make it look easy. So I reckon he's going to just ride this out. He's not going to be pushing too hard from here. But his timing on the pit stop is an interesting one. If he can save fuel here, he knows that basically all of these drivers are going to need to make their stops yet. So he's really counting on the rest of the field getting out of his way over the next 30-odd laps left in the race number 2 here.
That's what I heard from the drivers, mate, when I was down in their pit garages, when I did a little Ted Kravitz. I wasn't, American woman in anything about this. I literally was getting that information from those drivers, and that's what they said to me. That is the key. The marbles, they said, the key. They also said braking under the bumpy zones is another crucial thing. We've seen this now a couple of times, haven't we, from the drivers? It gets bumpy, they hit the brake pedal, car screams, jumps over the brakes, can't stop in time, bingo, you're on the feds. So that's one thing. I want to hear from the chat as well too. Thank you all for joining this fantastic racing league. And of course, we're getting down to the end of this one. Want to sign up? Please do, so that Jared and I can pick on you in the broadcasting booth, because we'd love to do it. Or even point camera at your
fantastic driver. Absolutely.
Yeah, but this is it. This is crunch time. This is crucial for these drivers. They don't want the Fishy Motorsports drivers to get away with it. DC is a favourite. He's running in P2 at the moment. He's doing a solid job. He's got to lift up his team. I know that for a fact, Jared, talking to them, his teammates are going to do everything they possibly can to make sure DC gets the win or the best position he can get.
Yeah, absolutely. And still plenty of time to make it happen. We have one race and 30 laps left to go. So 30 laps here tonight, and then the Bathurst 400 next week, and we will be crowning our first MCV8 Series champion. And it's still too close to call right now. We know coming into this tonight in both the gold and silver split, our top two separated by single-digit numbers of points. There is nothing in it at all when you consider that there's 100 points on offer for the race winner each night, and a couple of points difference between each position. It doesn't take much at all for that picture to change dramatically. So I'm very much looking forward to taking a look at the live points at the end of this race. Of course, the other thing to consider that will need to be taken into account between races is any penalty that is applied, of course, by race control or any.
I don't get FIA Formula 1 on us.
No, look, it's one of those things, right? It's made a difference already. We've seen a couple of changes in point scores with post-race protests and penalties being applied. So, you know, we'll take a look at the live points as they cross the line and the finishing order that they do that in. But that's not to say it's going to be exactly the number of points we'll be looking at the start of next week's race. So.
It's provisionally, absolutely. We don't know how the situation is going to pull itself out. But, yeah, exactly. And give it to race control. They're going to analyse this. And they're going to analyse this not like you see it live time and you go, oh, he just did that and he just did that. They're going to look at other aspects to it. They could have been door banging for like 3 laps and you didn't see it on those pictures. Didn't see it. So they're going to look at that you don't show on pictures. So we have to give it to the race control. They have a hard work to do it, and they will do it, and they will get the results for the next round. For now, we give you the pictures and we give you what the feedback we have currently on screen as you see it. And we thank you very much for joining us, and make sure you hit that little like, subscribe button, because it does a great thing for all these fantastic 32 gladiators out here battling it out in the championship.
And of course, if you're interested in getting involved in next season, the GT3 series is just around the corner. I think we've got about a 3-week gap, Biggles, between the end of this and the start of the GT3 season. So do take a look in the video description just down below. You will find a link to the MC Motorsport Discord. That is the place you need to head to sign up, to read the rules, to get your entry in, and to be out on track amongst all of these drivers, and probably a few names that we haven't seen in the MCV8 series, but we know are strong competitors in the GT3 series. It's been a while since we last had a GT3 series. You know, it feels like quite a long time since we last had.
It was like Bathurst 12 hours ago.
GT3 does a little, doesn't it?
Harry said he's going to get out there if we fire it up, if he gets his Monday nights free. And
Go
get
on, get into
Harry.
it.
Hopefully we can get it there. We're going to get ready to go green flag racing here at the moment on a NASCAR super speed. Well, not super speedway.
You are in Daytona mode still, aren't you, mate?
Yeah, but it's NASCAR Heartland, of course, and the V8 Supercars will be revving around here. That's the key at the moment, and the man that's going to be revving it first, Fishy Motorsports 877. That's Ty Delaney in the championship.
There he goes. Doesn't get probably the jump he was hoping for. David Coleman looking for a move on Hayden Cupid. Is he going to get it done around the outside here? It's a big ask, but Coleman doesn't want to be left too far behind, because if Delaney and Danny P get away, he's going to have a lot of work to do to catch up to him, and it'd be an absolute waste of that safety car period. Cupid into the wall hard. It's going to cost him some pace. Keep your eye on the background, though. Let's make sure everyone gets through cleanly here. But David Coleman currently in P3 in the gold split, and that gap to Ty Delaney absolutely evaporated by that safety car period. So we are back to effectively even Stevens here with just about 30 laps still to go here. I can't help but think we're going to see another safety car at some point, aren't we, Biggles?
I'd like to see even if he's very Steven on that one at the moment. But DC, Hayden, battling it out too for now. This is a battle for P3, P4, P5. Hayden Cupid, Sideways Esports, Team G Shifters, Fishy Motorsports. It's all going tooth and nail here at the moment in Chicago.
Garioch going around the outside of this sweeping left-hander, finds himself perfectly positioned for the exit of it, and we see Cupid into the wall again. which is enough to allow Garriosh through. And now he's got some attention, of course, from Action Jackson Austin right behind him. And Hayden Cupid, yeah, he's copying it right now. He's surrounded by gold drivers and just struggling to get it away. Have a look in the background, though. Look who it is, Scott Stevens. Now up into P8, up 17 positions so far this race.
A big drop off from Jaden Bryan at the moment, but keep an eye out. DC Ty versus DP, actually. Danny putting massive pressure on our racer at the moment. He knows he cannot let the Fishy Motorsports, they might have run away at the moment with the team championship. They run away with the drivers championship with DC piloting that machine. DP.
So they come down the backstretch again, and Danny P, look, he's playing a smart game here. He's not pushing hard. He's not trying to force a move. He's quite happy to just sit in behind Ty Delaney and wait for Delaney to make the mistake there. Jake Rebellion unfortunately disqualified, and
Jake, mate, I was going DP, not DQ, mate. You can't be doing that to me.
Not what we're calling out. Let's go back. We've had Jamie Dykes had an issue. So right down the back of the pack after that. Let's go back and take a look. What's happened here after that pit stop? He's somehow.
He's got into him for sure. On the exit. He's got the lap pedal.
Big lock up. And that's Adrian Gresh there. And he's just caught up in amongst it. He can't go anywhere. Bit of a nudge from Gresh on the way through. So sorry, that must be his teammate Ronald Long, perhaps, that's got spun around there. But Jamie Dyke.
David Coleman just at the fastest lap at the moment in P3. He's catching the pack for P1 and P2. Dan the man is providing the entertainment and the excitement and the pressure currently at the moment on our gold split championship leader. He's got all the points in his kitty litter, but at the moment does Ty, who elected to just give away podium positions to allow Dan the man to put the pressure on him. And I tell you what, I think this is a strategy. I think it's strategy. It's allowing DC to come and play. And this is putting Dan the man in strategic pressure here. He's in a fishy sandwich.
You know, you look at these guys doing this, and you do wonder a little bit if there's any sort of approach here from Ty Delaney, I suppose, to be slowing this down a little bit.
He is, mate. Come on, you can't beat around the bush in this one. We're all clever on that. He's bringing him into play. He's bringing him into play. He's bringing him into play.
I don't think this is Delaney at all, mate. This is Coleman and the raw pace, because these three have extended their lead over Garriosh to 6 seconds now, back to on-track P4.
What would you do if you're Danny, mate? You're stuck in a fishy sandwich, right? We've all been there. We've gone down to Delhi. You ordered the tuna. Unfortunately, you got the salmon. This is what the problem is. You got to swim you got to swim upstream or downstream. What can Danny do?
Nobody likes the tuna here. Anyway, as we see the top three now starting to run away with it, out to almost 7 seconds over Nicholas Garriosh, who himself is dragging Jackson Austin along for the ride. But these two, like, you just, there's no visibility ahead. There is daylight and perhaps even a little bit of moonlight between them and the front three right now. 7 seconds on track from Nicholas Garriosh in your Frog Leap Juice Racing entry there, the P4 on his windscreen. 7 seconds up the road to David Coleman. Just a massive gap. It's how they're getting this sort of pace is just a bit beyond me tonight, Biggles.
Well, I mean, you're howling at the moon at the moment. You're with those quotes, my friend. So I can imagine, like, ooh, yep, they're getting that job done.
Jamie Dyke's now looking for a way through as well.
Put your nose in, mate. Don't get chopped off, Fleet. There is no plastic surgeons here in Chicago. You're going to go over to LA for that one.
Now, I don't like Danny P's chances of taking P1 in the championship. That's probably a bridge too far. But right now, Jamie Dyke,
you're giving up. Winston Churchill will be throwing a cigar down there and just stamping it out there and disgusting, going, "You never give up. You never surrender. How dare you?"
Now, let me finish the thought, Biggles.
Sorry,
I don't think he's got P1 up his sleeve, but when you take a look at Jamie Dyke, we just had him on screen a moment ago, he's back in 22nd on track. and a long way down in the gold split in terms of finishing position. As you see, Scott Stevens now putting the move on and starting to progress his little bit of this race as well, and bringing Josh Harris with him. But look at Ryan Smith, unfortunately, just can't keep up. But yeah, look at Jamie Dyke, a long way back, and that's gonna set him back a long way in the championship points. If Danny P can just hang on to a P2, P3 finish here tonight, that could be enough for him to get on the podium, at least at the end of the season.
Well, I think Danny P's actually already planned that out before you there, my friend. He knows in the moment. But the biggest problem he has is DC's on his tailpipe, and that is a problemo for him because, as again, my friend, I don't know if he has tuna on his salad, but he isn't a tuna sandwich.
As we see Jamie Dyke now making the move around the outside.
Oh, what
of
a
Henry King.
move!
Sets himself up and continues his push, so up into 21st on track, but still a long way from the lead. That said, he's had that pit stop. It might be enough to carry him through to the end. And now we look up the front again as Delaney, Danny P and David Coleman continue. 8.5 seconds now to Nicholas Garrioch. These three in an absolutely different league right now. And with that bit of clear air ahead of them and a lot of clear air behind them, they're going to look to continue extending that for quite some way yet before they think about the next pit stop. Now almost 9 seconds. Every time you blink, that gap is going up and up. And as we take a look back to Nicholas Garrioch, it's not for lack of trying. Both Garrioch and Austin absolutely throwing these Gen 3 Supercars around the corners here at Chicago, but they're not able to pull them in. They just don't have the pace.
Yeah, but Action Jackson's thinking of Action Jackson things, my friend. He's like going, I'm a Hollywood man, and I can get the job done when I need to. So he's putting the pressure on at the moment. But they're thinking the bigger picture here. There's bigger pictures at play there, Jared. There's a lot of strategy going on between teammates and team friends. And of course, how can they help out their teams get the crucial points in the championship? That's the ones who paid the big bucks, my friend, you know. They're the ones that all these team sponsors give them their positions in the garages when it comes to the next season. So they're thinking about that. Of course, the top three is not what they're thinking at the moment. Their pitches. However, that is situations. You're seeing animal battles happen to pitches and screen.
There's plenty going on all over the track. We're just jumping between them at the moment. Right now, watching Jamie Dyke caught up amongst this. He's on the back of Thomas Wilson and a long way back through the field. But further up, Ryan Smith, Josh Harris and Aaron Gilbert. Harris just caught in the middle of this gold battle. He's going to put himself, big lock up there. And Ryan Smith very, very lucky to avoid contact with Harris. Unfortunately, takes a bit of a chunk out of the concrete barrier. And Ryan Palmer has gone into the pit, so he's made his stop. That's lap 21. That's about right for where we're expecting some of these to happen. Take a look further back. Harrod, Stevens and Curry all in amongst it. Finally, a battle that all exists within the one split. So Damien Harrod has Seth Stevens and Mitch Curry both looking to make their way through here in Silver Split. A lot of damage on the back end of that Team 15 entry. Seth Stevens copping the worst of it a little earlier on. That's going to have some impact on his performance. Jamie Dyke has gotten past Thomas Wilson, meanwhile. And so now Dyke out in front. Keep an eye on him. Now up into P8. And currently 13.5 seconds up to Ryan Smith. But look at that start to drop as he gets into clean air. The gap opening. Thomas Wilson has no answers. Jamie Dyke has them all. And power to spare by the look of it. As he starts to reel in Ryan Smith now down to 13 seconds. Let's see how quickly he can catch up that gap.
Mitch Curry in the P12 position, P14 position, actually 12 positions gained from Darren Harrod, you mentioned, up the road there. DC tried to pull in Danny P is the biggest key at the moment in this race, trying their best. We're getting pissed off. Josh Harris, Ryan Smith and Mitch Curry, and as well as Harrod going in as well too. So unscheduled, let's say. I was told 27 was the lap, but 22 is the lap we're on.
Danny P, a big slide there, so his tyres starting to feel the laps and laps of trying to hang on to the back of Delaney. And you can see now Ty Delaney starting to apply the pressure and extend his lead. It's only just over a second of gap right now as the sun starts to come down here in Chicago. But that second can very, very quickly turn into a whole lot more. Jamie Dyke now up the inside of Olszewski.
Dyke might have him here, mate. He's
I don't
got a
think there's
good
any
run out of
question
the
at
exit.
all.
Yep.
David McDonald's
keep an
doing the
eye out.
fastest lap at 126.5.
Bloody Fishy Motorsports, my friend. You can't trust them. They're there. We love them. But they're
Trust is
fishy.
the word you're looking for there, because
No, it's fishy, my friend. You know what I mean? It smells sus, but it's racing great, and they are certainly doing a job. Jamie Dyke, of course, remember, he's battling for a championship. He's crucially needing it, especially knowing the fact that his teammates, DC, P3, Tyler Delaney, P1. Biggest mix in that one is Danny P. And Danny P trying on the inside. Wow. Danny P trying everything he can against DC. That is not a mistake on your screen. So that's DC versus DP. It's all happening. And it's live here at the MC Motorsports on lap 23 and 44. These guys have not yet taken a pit stop. Got to avoid the marbles. Good luck on that one. It's Chicago. Let's go.
you
Where's
see the
Ferris?
lights flashing from Coleman there. He's getting frustrated. He thinks he should be getting past, and he knows this is starting to hold them up. He wants to get at Ty Delaney. Oh, a black flag drive-through for Jamie Dyke. Has just copped the drive-through for
Don't about
contact on
Jamie,
lap
I'll
16.
bribe the official, mate. We'll get that all sorted out later. Obviously, that's going to happen.
That's huge
Jamie,
news,
mate, you've
though,
been
for
a naughty
Danny P.
boy. And you
Huge
get
news
slapped
for Danny
across
P.
the wrist there. You get the cane. If you're back in my day at school.
Back in your day, you can't be that old, my friend.
Yeah, man. I got the cane a couple of times. It actually hurt, but yeah.
I can imagine
It
it
can't be
would.
that old. What are you talking about, you young guns?
So we take a look at the lineup right now. So Ty Delaney out to a second and a half, slowly creeping away. Danny P getting very, very loose. Those tyres protesting at every move that he tries to put on here. Coleman just sitting back a little, waiting for his moment to pounce once again. And keeping in touch
And you
with Danny
cannot
P.
give up this place, mate. You cannot get a fishy 1 and 2. That will
No.
smell all the way to pit road as Nicholas goes down to pit road there for the Frog Leap Juice Racing team. He's going to like to go down there now. Earlier pit stop. We'll clear that pen out later on. It'll drop like the Chicago 929 Stock Exchange. It'll also be joined by Maddie and Mr. Dyke as well. So that's how it's going to pan out. Jared.
I reckon that'll be Jamie Dyke's drive-through. He won't be stopping because remember he did make that stop earlier on, and we were expecting him to try and extend right through to the end of this race. So expecting him to come straight back out of the pits. So keep
I
an eye
can't
on
remember
that.
that far, mate. I'm an old man.
Lap 24 now of 44, so we're a little bit over halfway. Jamie Dyke, as we said, has not stopped there. He's completed his drive-through penalty. He made his stop
tell
on
you-
lap 12.
Yeah.
So he's still going to be trying that fuel-saving approach, but that drive-through is going to really set those plans back. Right now, though, the battle continues up the very front end of the field. The gap now for these three, keeping in mind they do, of course, have a pit stop yet to do to make it to the end, but the gap now out to 13 seconds from David Coleman back to
Yeah, but
Jackson
this is
Austin.
working for Ty because he's actually gained a couple of tenths per lap on Danny, the man, the crown favourite, Danny P. He's in trouble because he's mirror driving now. He can't be mirror driving because he's dropping a little bit of pace to Ty Delaney, who's winning this race at the moment on pace. They have to take a pit stop. Danny's up 7. Ty is up 2. And Ty is trying to keep DC behind him. That's not an easy task, my friend, but that's what he's doing. Ty, at the moment, if I was the supporters out there, and of course you can all get out there and support Danny, you can say, Danny, stop mirror driving. Danny, drive forward. But can he do it? Because now DC is putting the pressure on harder and harder. It's at the inside. And the inside DC forces him into the fence almost. Danny had to lift off. DC, P2.
That gap now to Delaney out to 2 seconds. He's going to have to push hard to start closing that down.
He's
So
going to
David
slow
Coleman,
him
what's he
down big
got?
time right now, mate. He's going to slow him down big time.
You
DC's
reckon
gonna play a
Coleman's
team
backing
game.
off here? No way, mate.
No,
Not a
DC's
hope.
going to play the pit team game. You watch this. I guarantee you in about a lap time, it's going to be 2 seconds. That's a target for the team. Yeah, hey, mate, you've been fishing before. Fishing Motorsports know how to do it.
As Ty Delaney goes into the pits, so David Coleman now has clear air ahead of him, and he's going to look to extend. Gets a huge drive out of that corner, and look at that gap open up to Danny P. If ever there was a question in your mind as to whether or not Coleman was being held up there, by Daniel Poulton. That is your answer. Danny P, just nothing to respond, and David Coleman starts to extend that lead with ease. Ty Delaney in the pits right now. Let's see how long he takes and where he actually comes out. We're looking for him to be ahead of Henry King. So
Don't be in team radio right now. I tell you, the Fishy Motorsports team would be in team radio right now going, okay, what is your delta? What is this? What is that? Scott Stevenson's gone in at the moment. Dave, remember the silver split champion leader is crucial for his. And DP is going to be chasing him down at the moment. So DC, DP, it's all over the place. We got Ty in pit road. It's crucial.
He's got out cleanly and in huge amounts of space. This is great news for Ty Delaney. He's got no traffic behind to worry about. He's got no one out in front.
So that's a good indication for the rest of the team. So if DC and DP go in, are they going to have clean air?
Well, it certainly looks that way at the moment, doesn't it? As we see all of the pit stops starting to happen right throughout the field. Only a few drivers yet to pit. And of course, two of those are right here on screen. You've got Danny P yet to make his stop, and David Coleman out in the lead right now. As he comes in, Danny P makes the late choice to follow him as well.
They're following each other. So it's the DC versus the DP show at the moment, but more crucial is where they're going to come out when Ty comes out. Ty currently running in P6. Is he going to zoom on by, or is Ty going to be behind both of these gladiators?
Jackson Austin takes P1 on track. Hayden Cupid goes past as well, but both of those drivers yet to make their pit stop. So here comes Ty Delaney.
He took a 40, he took a 20-second pit stop. He coming in the backstretch.
David Coleman out at 18.8, so he's going to be pushing hard, but I don't know if he's going to get out of the pits ahead. Here comes Ty Delaney.
Whoa!
He makes it out,
does!
But only just. There's David Coleman and Danny P out in the background.
Pit stop.
Now watch Coleman on these cold tyres. Can he hang in there? Oh, Danny P in the background, straight in on cold tyres.
Oh, Danny P's made a mistake. Big time, he's hit the fence.
That's going to cost him so much time, so many places.
Yeah, he's got big pressure at the moment from Thomas. He has absolutely cooked it, my friend. He went to the budding stag and he just he went daylight dollar short on that one. He's gone off the field, mate. He is in big trouble right now in little Chicagoland.
Unfortunately for Danny P, I think that's going to be his race.
Come on, Danny, get on with it, mate. Don't give
up. Jamie Dyke on the way in the background.
I got a Winston Churchill cigar for you. Never go, never surrender.
It's such a shame, though. He's thrown away such a fantastic opportunity.
Why is he going so slow? Has he got that much damage on him?
I think he's actually got a lot more damage than it looks like. I don't think it's cosmetic. I think it is.
We're on like 28 and 44, mate. He can bring it home. He's a long way from home, aka pit stops. But
let's go on board and take a look at this steering wheel and just see how it's sitting and whether he's having to fight it a lot on the brakes. Doesn't look too bad. Ty Delaney at 126 flat.
Yeah, that's a real insult, my friend. They realise in the moment the Fishy Motorsports entries have this one in the bag. DC's going to lift off.
He's going into the pits. That was a really awkward entry.
He has to go for Danny P. He's struggling big time, but it ain't over yet for the Danny fans. You still have 17 laps to go of this one, but it's looking pretty good for the Fishy Motorsports entries. We're still at the top two at the moment. There, my friend. Yet to make pit stops. That's Action Jackson and Aaron Gilbert.
Both of those drivers look doing really well. Jackson Austin up 11 positions since he started here this evening. But I'll tell you what, the view back from Ty Delaney, there you go. That's David Coleman coming up behind him. Jackson Austin up 11 positions, but he does not have the sort of gap that he's going to need to stay out in front here. 12 seconds looks like a long way to Aaron Gilbert, but we're seeing times in the pit road from end to end of about 47 seconds. So he is a solid 30 seconds short of what he could potentially need to stay in touch. The only question will be, where does he come out? And I think if you look at that gap from Coleman back to Henry King, even that's going to be a big ask for Jackson Austin.
it will be a big action, as Lance Howard says. Your dad can't watch the DP show, mate. You're going to be watching the
25.98. David Coleman goes one better.
DC's on a rampage at the moment. We're talking about the man P4.
First driver into the 25s tonight. Ty Delaney got so close at 26.05.
Caution! We have a caution.
Oh, that's Reese
How
Wakefield.
about re-rack them, restack them at the moment? And I'll tell you what, Lowndes. Yeah, there is a car stricken on one of the turns, and there you go. You're
that's
bound
Reese
right.
Wakefield. Big lock up
in
and
the back
straight across. Oh, that's a huge impact. That car is absolutely
It's got
destroyed.
a new sim rig, mate.
Yeah, that's going to have broken his wrists, I reckon. That one would have hurt. Reese Wakefield into the wall.
How's this going to pan everything out right now under caution? Lap 29. Let's try to get everybody a recap of where everybody is and where everybody's going to be.
Now, because we're using the iRacing safety car, that means the pit road will be closed right now. So Jackson Austin can't get in there and make his stop at the moment. He's going to have to wait now until he gets around.
He needs to make a pit stop. Aaron Gilbert needs to make a pit stop.
That is
P1,
unfortunately his opportunity gone now. So by the time we get around,
Ty Delaney in P3 made a pit stop on lap 25. Derek DC made a pit stop on lap 26. But what about Henry King? He made a pit stop on lap 12. He's got to take advantage of this pit stop. I don't think he can make it to the end.
I mean, lap 12, that's doable. It's only 30-odd laps that he's going to be doing. Now, have a look at the damage. Who's that in front? That's Reese Wakefield. Look at that front right wheel. No, it's not. It's Chayton Byron. Chayton Byron is carrying a huge amount of damage there. What's happened to him? Looks like he's crashed just after the safety car came out. Let me have a look and see what's happened. So the safety car's on track. I believe at this point he's already out on track. We'll take a look to come around, but
no, he's not, mate. He's the fence.
He's having to break that massively, and
that's on you, Jared.
Almost gets wiped out by the safety car.
How dare you put that driver into the fence?
That had already happened, mate. This is all replays. I had nothing to do with that.
Well, no, you get me all excited. You're like right on the money there, mate.
I was trying to work out why Chayton Byron was dragging that wheel, and he's just overcooked it into turn one, and the safety car almost wiped him out on the way past as well. So Byron's going to
refund your butting snags at the moment out there who overcooked a little bit, but. Jared, how's this going to pan things out on this race?
Well,
so you have Action Jackson in the lead. We know the Jinx shifters can shift up a gear when they need to. He's up 12-11. We have Aaron Gilbert for the Team Jinx shifters. Not the GITT. I'm going to go confused on that one. My apologies out there. However, Azza, E's in P2, they have to make a pit stop, mate. They haven't been down to pit road. And as far as what I got my little racing notes here, 27 laps is all you can do on a full tank of gas, and they're in.
Austin and Gilbert go in, and we see David Coleman stay out. Ty Delaney goes out. Henry King goes in, and he called that one. Last pitted back on lap 12, so he's got to go and just top it off here.
That's why I do my homework, mate. You send me down the pit road, I do it.
He's doing the numbers. Let's see how this reshuffles. Look at the field getting shuffled by these few pit stops that are happening. Jamie Dyke's in, so he's had to go and pit again. That early pit stop has not played out for him with that drive-through earlier, so he's going to make sure he's got fuel to really push hard now and make the best of this. But it's going to leave some pretty significant gaps in the field here.
How would your dad respond to this? Get the old man out there. Let us know how he would do it back in his day. I would have got the horse and cart, literally, and just getting on up. But the situation currently at the moment for your old man is fishy. Put it that way. Very fishy. Ty in the lead from DC.
The sun's slowly starting to dip, so I reckon we're going to be getting very, very close to needing the lights on towards the end of this race. We've still got 13 laps to go. We've still got at least one more lap under safety car. And this is how the field looks right now. Ty Delaney in front. David Coleman will be right on his tail at the restart. Thomas Wilson has really just caught a stroke of luck here with the safety car, so he'll be right up there with them. Nicholas Garriosh right behind them. And then, of course, you've got Robbie Bradbury, you've got Ryan Smith. I'm just taking a look, though, to the silver split. Hayden Cupid is nowhere to be seen.
He's P6,
He's
mate.
in P6, there he is. He's just tucked in amongst all of these gold drivers. But he's got Dylan Thomas and Josh Harris right there with him. So you can see those three drivers tucked in. Mitch Curry's up there as well in P4. Seth Stevens and Scott Stevens have somehow managed to find each other in amongst all the chaos once again. So we've got Stevens and Stevens racing.
They will. Don't you worry about
just
that,
keep us on our toes. So Scott Stevens...
It's like two schoolboys at a playground fighting and going to the principal's office. They will find each other.
So Scott Stevens up 13 positions, and he's made his pit stop on lap 25. He should be able to make it to the end without another stop. The question is, can he do any better than P6 and retain his lead in the championship? It doesn't look likely. I think Hayden Cupid's going to have him there, but he's looking to minimise the damage after a pretty disappointing race one here tonight.
So we're locking that in the bet odds at the moment here on the MC Motorsport Simple Racing Network. We're going to lock those odds in according to the boss man, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What about Thomas Wilson? He went in lap 12, and the man's running P3. He's up 20 positions.
He's going to be pushing hard to, he's going to have to fuel save massively.
He's going to have to steal a, time machine and go to 2.1 gigahertz and roll his way past the other two Fuji Motorsports entries.
You're going to have to think, though,
Back to the Future, of course.
That
his name's Wilson, so
if he didn't think he could make it to the end on the fuel he's got, because of course, being out of the safety car helps you save a lot of fuel. I reckon Thomas Wilson is considering trying to make a run to the end here and steal a podium position away.
You wanted to go back to the future, man, just say.
I mean, you would think that if he needed a slight top-up, he would have tried to do that under the safety car here and minimise...
I did that good. 27 laps under green flag racing, if you gas that up, as he did on lap 12.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I mean, we've had quite a few safety car laps here tonight.
Hey, and safety cars breed safety cars. Jared.
Always. Let's see what Ty Delaney does this time around. The safety car bringing them back to the front of the circuit.
Back to the future. Come on, say hit there, Marty.
Nope, I'm not going to yet. I'm saving it. But if we look at some of the other drivers, Chaden Byron's in the pits getting his repairs done. I think his race is over after that massive hit that we saw into turn one.
Chaden Byron, if you want to give us a chat there from pit lane, we'll get Ted down there, have a little bit of chin wag with you on the microphone.
Then you've got Ronald Long is the first of the lapped cars tonight, so all the way back in P24 on track. So this is Ronald Long here. He's in P12 in the silver split. So look, so far, you've got to say the longer race has definitely not produced as many lapped cars at this point as we saw in first race, and that's got to be down to the number of safety cars ultimately.
Safety cars, safety cars, my friend. Of course, this could be a little bit of a dress rehearsal come Bathurst.
Yeah, now see Bathurst, I'm going to be amazed if we get through that without a couple of safety cars. That's just not going to happen.
Jared's famous last words, of course, the famous last races of the season. Safety car peeled in, Jared. We're going to go green.
Waiting on the flag. There it is. Ty Delaney pulls away. David Coleman's already out to the side, and he's looking to push immediately as we come down to turn one. They're going to be side by side through it. Coleman backs out so he doesn't make contact, and we've got contact immediately
that's a big wreck.
in turn one. Thankfully, everyone's managed to get underway again, although Mitch Curry is getting a couple of extra hits from some of the SES entries there as he looks to hold them behind him. That's Ryan Smith and Hayden Cupid both into the back of him. Ty Delaney and David Coleman away, and in front Thomas Wilson Now under pressure from Nicholas Garriosh. There is plenty going on right throughout this field as we get underway, but thankfully a clean start for our front runners. No contact yet. We have 11 laps to run, and there is still a long way to go in this race. Anything can happen. Wilson losing out to Garriosh there. You can see Danny P a little further back now in P6. He's got some work to do to get in amongst it, but that safety car is going to have helped him massively.
It has helped him massively. Further behind, of course, Matty and Dylan.
Garriosh and
Nicholas
Wilson.
has gone around.
Garriosh
Nicholas in the
and
fence.
Wilson. That's Nicholas Garriosh.
is in the fence, mate. He's juiced it up. The big pile up. It's a massive pile up at the moment. It's about 20, oh, not 20. It's not exaggerate, but 6-7 cars.
What's happening here? Oh, what a place for that to happen, though.
I think we're green, mate. We are green still, so
that little
tides
blink
are
from
letting.
Garriosh is really problematic because these guys are coming around the corner thinking it's clear, and then all of a sudden Garriosh is going to blink into
Wilson's gone in
existence.
pit road. Tommy's gone in.
He made contact with Garriosh there. So we'll go back and have another look at that.
We got 3 wide down the front stretch, well, to turn 1. The big battle will be 999.
Dylan Thomas goes through and Daniel Harrod. Somehow we've kept this race going. And I tell you what, the offshoot of all of that, Thomas Wilson and Nicholas Garriosh coming together has left Ty Delaney and David Coleman out in front, and all of a sudden that gap that was closed down by the safety car is now out to almost 10 seconds immediately.
It's up to Daniel to slice and dice his way through the field. The problem is Daniel's got Steph Stevens, of course, silver split championship runner up there. Josh Harris, Scott Stevens up the road there. He needs to get the Fishy Motorsports entries. He needs a good result. He needs to finish in front of them in order to give his championship hopes alive. And that's what Danny P's thinking about right now, mate. Spelling it out. He's in the tail end of a motorsports entry. And look at that, Goose coming around the corner. He's trying his best to get past Steph, and he may get past him. He does get past Steph. Danny P in a rampage. Danny P in P6.
Long way still to go. Let's take a little bit further of a look back. Mitch Curry now looking for a move up the inside. Dylan Thomas gets late on the brakes, pushes through, forces Thomas wide. He's going to have to get back on it though, and Curry gets very, very loose. Unfortunately, has to back off to just keep the car straight. But better he does that and live to fight another day than go into the wall. And behind him, all sorts of chaos going on with Aaron Gilbert, Daniel Harrod, Ryan Palmer. A little further back, you've got David McDonald, Henry King, Jackson Austin all in behind them. So plenty of guys still not separated out after that safety car. And you're getting packs like this. Have a look at that shot on your screen. Jamie Dyke right down the end of it. You can just see him poke his nose into shot there. And this is the sort of racing you expect to see in Gen 3 Supercars. Just absolute trains of cars going on. This train extends almost all the way up to P3 with Robbie Bradbury.
I don't know how old you are there, Jared, but I've never seen Gen 3 Supercars around Chicagoland before, but this is exciting to see it for the first time for me. I know you might be around
not a bad
since
introduction to it, right?
the wheel was invented, but I wasn't, and this is great. Absolutely fantastic.
So Robbie Bradbury currently holding a comfortable P3. He's got a second and a half back to Danny P, who's stuck behind some of this silver traffic behind him. You can see there the purple car of Danny P, the Simrigs entry, in behind Josh Harris at the moment. But Scott Stevens, the absolute winner from all of the safety car carnage that we saw there. We talked about him needing a solid result, and he finds himself up there, plus 21 positions right now.
And he's got Josh Harris and Danny P behind him as well too. And Steffi's up the road, mate. Yeah, so and it got to mention the Mitch Curry show behind him. What excitement here on lap 36 of 44 here for one of the penultimate rounds here at the MC Motorsports V8 Supercars. They're revving up. Chicagoland. It's windy, it's slushy, and it's dicey. And guess what? Ty's in the lead.
Have a look at the pack coming through here, just a little further back. We didn't even need to change cameras. to see these guys coming through. Jamie Dyke gets the move done and pushes past Jackson Austin. So Dyke with that late pit stop, he's got some fresh tyres under him, so he's going to be looking to put in some fast laps. But he's got roadblocks all over the place ahead of him. Damien Harrod, Henry King ahead. Let's go back up the front here, though. Josh Harris has Danny P up the inside of him.
Side by side, Danny P as well, too, on Scotty.
You see Seth Stevens getting very, very loose there. It's hard to see, but there's Josh Harris right up against the wall, giving Danny P as much room as he can, while still holding off Seth Stevens. So Danny P makes another spot and continues.
I think that these other teams at the moment are just doing everything they can to allow somebody to beat the Fishy Motorsports entries. I think that's what it is.
They're that organised?
I think they're that organised. I think they want to bring it to the top guns, my friend. It's like Maverick and Goose. It's the Iceman and his wingman. It's what it's all about. And they're doing their absolutely best to make sure they can try to bring it something. DC and tie up the road, mate. DC and tie up the road. If they get this win, they could be the championship done and dusted. They need Danny P in the picture.
Yeah, look, I think even if Danny does finish in fourth, I mean, Jamie Dyke is certainly climbing his way back up through, and he's going to need to, because if he doesn't get within a couple more spots of Danny P, then that's going to be a very, very tight challenge for P3 in the championship. I think at this point, Dyke's almost got to consider the top step out of reach, which is a real shame, but anything can happen. Bathurst, of course, being an endurance round, does mean double points, so it's a possibility that could be all it takes. But
I think from Jamie Dyke, mate, he realises there is still 7 laps to go on this race. We have pit stops that we need to have from drivers, perhaps. Ty, at 25, he went down. DC, lap 26. But what about Robbie? He went down there at lap 13. Has he have enough to go to the end? He's in P3.
Surely not. Surely not at this point.
So that's a position gain for all these other drivers at the moment. That'll bring Scotty Stevens up into P3. He'll get that podium. He's foaming at the mouth for some bubbly stuff. We're seeing Josh Harris into pit road at the moment. He's back in P19. But what's going to happen there, boss man?
Well, Robbie Bradbury, I mean, look, P3 right now. Just trying to do some quick, top of the head maths.
Danny B try to take Robbie in the inside, done. And
takes Scott Stevens easily. Robbie Bradbury next on his list. Look, lap 13 for Robbie Bradbury is we've got one of the everything simulated. That might be Chayton. No, it's not. I think that might have even been.
I'll tell you what, mate, there's a big battle between DC and Ty as well for the lead. Remember, apparently we've heard, and it's rumours to be, there's no fake news, or perhaps it will be fake news, there is game on in the Fishy Motorsports entries for the championship hunt. And I'll tell you what, Ty Delaney and DC are in the hunt, and they're P1 and P2, separated by the piece of paper that Jared handed me earlier on the race notes for this race.
That's going to be more than enough to decide at the end of the day, but David Coleman's got plenty of time left for Delaney to make an error, and at the moment it's all on Ty Delaney, isn't it? All the pressure is on Delaney to not only put in clean laps and hit all his apexes, but to do it at pace, to just stop Coleman from making his way through, and that's going to make life a whole lot easier for Coleman. The gap now is 16.5 seconds back to Bradbury. There is no pressure from behind for David Coleman. All he has to do is continue to apply pressure to Ty Delaney. You see Delaney get very loose, so he's obviously pushing hard to try and hold off Coleman. There's still a long way to go, and it's all in David Coleman's favour right now. Danny P, though, right on the tail of Robbie Bradbury, so he's looking for a late P3. And he's got plenty of time to do that as well. I think he needs to get past him. I think he needs to get past Robbie. And I don't think Robbie can go to the end on lapping on lap 19 for the Gasolina. So it's going to be if of course Danny P can get that P3, and I'm positive and know it, he can get in good position here. I don't think he can catch Ty and Davey, but if it's game on Fishy Motorsports, my friend, they take each other out. Bingo.
shouts early there for Danny P.
Speaking of, Danny P has been right on Bradbury's tail. We were on board there for a moment with Roy Bradbury. It doesn't look like he's in a fuel save mode, but that seems to make no difference whatsoever to Danny P. He's pushing hard. He's closed that gap right down. But keep your eye on the front runners, because David Coleman is all over the back of Ty Delaney, and he is saying, let me on through. I'm quicker. You're holding me up. Danny P now looking to make the move. He's got the nose up alongside. We're going to jump back and forth between these two because the battle is on for young and old at the front of this pack. Danny P all over the back of Robbie Bradbury, looking for P3, looking for those last few points that he needs to potentially get onto that championship step. Meanwhile, out in front, Ty Delaney doing everything he can to hold off David Coleman, and Coleman is all over the back of him. I think Delaney may have just pushed these tyres a little too hard. You can see that car bouncing around all over this street circuit. And Coleman obviously getting the better of it at the moment. But here comes Danny P again. It's so close to the wall there from Bradbury. He's using every bit of track to try and keep himself ahead and just end up with those couple of extra points at the end of the night. But Danny P is desperate to get through. Robbie Bradbury absolutely holding him up at this point. There's not much in this, Biggles.
There is absolutely nothing between these drivers, and of course you've got to mention championship points. Couple of points here, couple of points there, make all the difference. That's exactly what's happening at the moment. Side by side, almost door banging. Give it a little bit of a nudge, reminding that Robbie is racing, and that's what it's all about right now. He doesn't want to let these two up the front get away. In fact, he's probably loving to hear on the radio that these two at the front are battling for potential team championship. That's what it's all about, my friend.
David Coleman sends it deep up the inside. He's gotten through. Can Delaney respond, or is that it? Is that the move? David Coleman now out in front, Ty Delaney. Let's see if he's got the pace that he's been threatening for so long. The tables have turned. It's now Delaney's turn to pressure, but Coleman has been so quick. Is he about to pull away from Delaney? Already starting to open it up. Half a second. Almost out to 6/10 now. Does Coleman really have that much extra pace in that setup?
We'll find out after short commercial break.
Car number 80, Jamie Dyke, a 20-second post-race penalty for contact on lap 33. It has not been Jamie Dyke's night. That's going to set him back. And I'm just doing, again, some quick maths there. That's going to put him all the way back through the field. A 20-second penalty at this point will land him somewhere around 19th on track, which means he will be behind Jackson Austin and just barely ahead of Thomas Wilson, so he'll be all the way back to 9th. This could be what Danny P's been looking for. As we see him looking for the move around the outside, you can see that defensive line from Robbie Bradbury making it very, very difficult for Danny P to get a move done here. And again, Bradbury goes defensive, stays on the inside. Seth Stevens trying to go with Danny P. He can sense that Danny's got the move on, and here it comes. He's got to drive out of the corner. They're going to be side by side as they come down the straight. Danny P on the inside. That's going to get his nose in front for the first time, and that's all it took. Now, can he pull it up? He's got it done, and Danny P up into third. 21 seconds up the track, though, to Ty Delaney. You can't expect him to do any more than that. Look out, though. Here comes Robbie Bradbury, returning serve, and goes around the outside. He's got the pace.
Robbie.
Danny P late on the brakes, though.
He has to hold off him, and Robbie's going to be that little itch that you can't scratch, isn't it? Because Robbie ain't going to go away, and they're going to be in contact.
Into the wall, and that's it. Danny P's going to pull away, and Bradbury's actually held Seth Stevens up, which has brought Scott Stevens and Mitch Curry now into the battle for P1 of the silver split. So Scott Stevens up 19 positions, Mitch Curry up 19 positions with him. Both of these guys a fantastic second race here tonight. Plenty of points on offer. The only question will be, can they stick with Seth Stevens, and then can they make it past? But Robbie Bradbury now roadblocked for the entire front part of the silver split.
That's going to split everything. You said silver split, my friend. It's splitted everything at play. I was saying about Aaron Gilbert, of course, and Aaron Gilbert. Not the War fan, my friend, because you're not going to do lower after this one. You got near Proterra. Wow.
Danny P now 3.5, almost 4 seconds ahead of Bradbury. He's got that wrapped up as long as he can keep it on track. This is where the last of the battle's going to be. We're down to the final 2 laps. David Coleman Hasn't managed to extend. Ty Delaney's found a second wind, and now he's going to put the pressure on as we make our way around. We've got about a lap and a quarter left in this second race here tonight, and the points are all still on offer at the front end of the field. Can Ty Delaney get a pass done? Can David Coleman defend for just one more lap? They're coming down to the final turn here.
Oh, let's go for gold now. It's absolutely go for gold. Team orders are out the door. Bo's headphones are thrown across the floor. It is 2 for now between these two. And if I was Danny P, I would just sit back, relax, enjoy that show, because you might see two fantastic race drivers in the fence if they get it all pearl shaped for the Fishing Motorsports entries.
You can see Ty Delaney's all over the track right now. He's pushing so hard to just try and hang on to the back of Coleman, flashing the lights, trying to put him off his game just a little. You can see him there. Ty Delaney wants to throw David Coleman off. I'm sure there's no chatter going on in the Discord at the moment because they are both so focused on the drive. Now watch out for this traffic up ahead. This could be problematic. You can see both of these drivers just letting them know they're on the way through. Keep your eye out to see just how clean this is. So that's Josh Harris getting out of the way there. Stays very, very wide of the action. Ty Delaney, I think, hasn't stopped flashing his lights since they started this lap at the moment. He's desperately trying to throw Coleman off because he knows he's not going to have more than about one more opportunity to make a pass.
I would block him, mate. I'd be like, get out of my way. I didn't. You got a lap there. You got to go around the outside, gentlemen. Come on.
You can see Ty Delaney trying everything, moving side to side across the track. Just trying, hoping desperately for a mistake from Coleman. But we're about to round the final turn, and this might be it. You can see clear air behind. Here they come. David Coleman across the line. Takes race 1 and race 2. A huge drive from Ty Delaney, but in the end, just not enough. And Danny P, all on his own, 26 seconds further back, will be P3 on track and P3 in the gold split. Assuming, of course, at this point that he doesn't put a foot wrong around this final turn, which would be pretty horrendous for the crowd favourite. But here he comes. Danny P comes to collect the checkered flag. That's P3. That's some phenomenal points for him. And have a look at the pack coming through now. I don't know how we're going to sort this out. Bradbury comes across. Jamie Dyke's in there. How did Jamie Dyke get up into P5? What has happened there? Have we missed a massive incident? I think we have. Ryan Smith and Mitch Curry have crashed, and that's allowed Jamie Dyke to pick up those extra spots at the end. But David Coleman and Ty Delaney, the lights just coming on the cars now as we enter the last part of the day here at Chicago. Absolutely huge effort from David Coleman. And a stellar finish from him. That's going to be fantastic points in the championship. We'll take a look at those in just a second as we see him make his way down to the finish line. I'm expecting burnouts from you, David Coleman. I don't know if you can hear me in the cockpit there, but I am expecting nothing less than the complete use of all your fuel and all your tyres for us.
All you can hear is that's it, mate.
Ty Delaney, though, you got to hand it to him. He really made Coleman work for that tonight, didn't he?
He pushed into a potential exit to the championship, mate, and that's what it's all about. But DC held on. DC did what DC did things, and DC now, I'd say, is the championship leader, world class.
You'd have to think so at this point. Let's go back though and take a look and see if we can catch the accident that allowed Jamie Dyke to somehow make his way through there. So let's just see what's happened here. Ryan Smith already carrying a huge amount of damage. You can see that front left wheel. Oh, Mitch Curry goes sideways. That blocks the track up. Oh, that's a horrible rejoin attempt from Curry. He ends up back in front of Ryan Smith. I don't see how that's...
You're going to have to report the boss for that one, my friend. But yeah, Mitch Curry got a little bit too eager into the corner here in the streets of Chicago and turns him around. Mitch Curry will end up inevitably finishing in PL11.
That he will. So let's first of all chat to the silver split winner in tonight's feature race. And a huge effort in the end. Seth Stevens, how are you, my friend?
Hang on, boys. Sorry.
Hang on.
It looks like Scott has won.
I was going to say
going on there.
it's just the wrong Stevens we've got here.
Well, that's disappointing.
It is, isn't it? But look, overall, we'll chat to you while you're here because you got caught up in one of the most epic battles that I reckon we've seen. I'm just taking a look here, and I'm not quite sure what's happened because I'm seeing you as on top on our timing.
I think I know what's happened. Unfortunately, between I think it was like the second to last lap, I've had some contact with who was it? Someone. I think it was someone third. I can't remember who it was. But then I've gone to 0x, and then he's then gone to hit the wall, and then as such, I've then got a 4x. So that's a bit crap. But
and that's giving you a drive-through, and that's ended with a 40-odd second penalty post-race.
So
that's
I'm
heartbreaking,
not sure
Seth.
Yeah.
Mate, I don't know what to say. I'm so disappointed for you. That's rough. Because you put in such a huge effort through all of that tonight. Well, mate, that's we will give you the win in spirit. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to translate in the points, but a massive drive from you, and good news for Scott Stevens. I don't know if he's aware yet, but we'll have a chat to him. I'm sure very shortly, mate. Worst of luck because you put in a massive drive there, and unfortunately, the incident points have got you in the end.
Yeah, that's it. Well, thanks,
commiserations. We'll leave you to go and have a drink and perhaps not follow the best reasons.
Probably cry, but that's
Why
okay.
not? Mate, well driven. We'll leave you to it.
Cheers, boys. Yeah.
That is heartbreaking.
Is that my address or is that my
for
state?
For Seth Stevens, I don't know how I've managed to drag myself out of the com box there, Biggles. But that is absolutely heartbreaking for Seth Stevens to cross the line in front and end up behind. But the good news out of that is that Scott Stevens comes home with the win. Scott, are you with us?
I am.
Mate, we had Seth here. We were all ready to chat to him. I was having a look at our timing info, and he was on top. And that last-minute contact for him has given him the 40-second post-race penalty, and it moves you up into P1. Probably not how you would have wanted to win that one, I expect.
Nah, man, I'm in a bit of shock, if I'm honest, because, yeah.
Well, here you are. We were saying you needed a big result there tonight.
I'm pretty sure Seth was going for it. I'm not sure who was in front, but I'm pretty sure it was a gold driver. And he must have made contact coming close to the finish line that gave him that. But unlucky for him, I got to say. For Seth, I think he deserved the win to a point, but rules are rules, and bit of a good race too. Race 1, 90% throttle for the whole race, so definitely was not ideal, and really suffered from it, but obviously had a good race too, and made my way from back of the field to P2, P1, whatever we want to call it. So solid.
Well, mate, a win's a win. And, ultimately it's the way it goes. Look, I think the drive that we saw you put in, regardless of what's happened to Seth, you're up 19 places in race 2 there. That is an absolutely monumental effort. So anyone who suggests that you haven't earned that win tonight is talking through their hat a bit, mate. Well done. Take the win.
Thank you. Yeah,
and,
thanks.
that'll mean some good points in that championship, which we'll take a look at shortly. We'll let you go and celebrate that one, hey?
Yeah, cheers, lads. Appreciate the broadcast. Can't wait to watch it back. And solid points haul for the second one. And we're going to the final round, and I think it's pretty all up in the air still. So looking forward to it, but nervous at the same time. So awesome. Thanks again for the broadcast, and I'll catch you guys hopefully maybe up on the podium next round.
Fingers crossed, mate. Get that practice in for Bathurst. We'll chat to you soon.
Thank you.
Scott Stevens snatching the win away in the dying seconds there with unfortunately, just that bit of an issue with the incident points there, Biggles, for Seth Stevens. That I still can't believe that's how it's finished up. But that's the way it goes in racing, isn't it?
It's Chicago, my friend, and those things happened, and they got to be in to win it. And when it all comes, and as gods at powers bees, that says that you cannot, you will deem to not get that position, you will actually have to take it. And guess what? You pick your head up there and you put your tail down, get the job done for the next round. Of course, Bathurst.
Bathurst 400 still ahead of us. Let's go to the gold split, and I think it's only fitting that we start with the crowd favourite himself, Danny P. It's been a little while since we last spoke to you, mate. How are you?
I know. I'm like great considering all the schmazzle that happened tonight. I'm feeling
that was
good.
intense. That last few laps after that final safety car were a tad full on. I don't know if you noticed out there on track.
I noticed. I saw a car park of cars, and I was like, "There's a gap. I'll go through there." And I somehow jumped like nearly 10 spots.
I mean, you've got to take it. In the end, you finished up one spot from where you started, but the recovery from where you were sitting. We've been sitting here trying to do some numbers on just what this might mean for the championship. We're going to take a look at that in just a moment and see where we're sitting going into the final round. But you're feeling like you might be able to challenge for at least a podium step in the championship this season?
Podium was quite far away, so my sights were always on fourth with Aaron. But once I actually get the official standings and stuff like that, I think I can see if I can pull together a good night. But if I can snag a third, I'll be absolutely thrilled.
Well, mate, my hot tip to you is get yourself a drink, jump over to the broadcast and watch about the next 5 minutes or so, and we will have an update on championship standings just as soon as we're done chatting to the Fishy Motorsports guys. So
yes,
good time to grab yourself a celebratory drink. Congratulations on P3 tonight, mate.
Thank you, appreciate it.
We will leave you to it. Biggles, that's not a bad way to go for Danny. Let's bring in Ty Delaney. Ty, you with us, mate?
Yes, I am. How are you boys?
Oh, look, staggered. Honestly, that was such an intense bit of racing tonight, and every time you got away, that safety car was just determined to shut down that beautiful gap you kept opening up, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know, right? It was pretty annoying, to be honest, but I got a little bit of a battle with my teammate, which was pretty fun, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah, and look, we did speak to David, of course, after race one, and he did assure us that all bets were off between the Fishy Motorsports guys. I think that was pretty evident tonight. You guys were going at it very, very hard this evening. How much did you have left in that car at the end of it? Because it looked like you were really just sliding all over the track there.
Yeah, it definitely was. I didn't have a crazy much, like a tiny bit left in the tyres. I used them quite quickly because I didn't think those two safety cars were going to come out. I didn't even think there was going to be a safety car, so I just tried to pull away as much as possible in the start. But unfortunately, two came out. Coleman got right behind me, and then I had, I think, 8 laps where I was in front of him. Then he just got that little sneaky nose in and a good pass, and couldn't really do much against that. And yeah.
That's all it took in the end. Well, mate, look, still some solid points. We're going to take a look at the championship standings once we're done chatting to you both, because it's going to be an epic final round. I just want to make sure you're going to be joining us for Bathurst, the 400 next week, I hope.
Yeah, I should do. I think Coleman's got me in the championship by about 4 or 5.
Oh, you've already done the maths.
7 spots. Yeah, but I think it's double points next round, so anything can happen, and it is also Bathurst, which also means anything can happen. But yeah, it should be quite fun.
Well, Ty, mate, some excellent driving tonight, as always, from you. Absolutely entertaining for us. Thank you so much for putting on a show, and congratulations on P2 there in race 2 tonight.
Cheers, boys. Have a good night.
And Biggles, I think we've got to bring him back, don't we? It almost feels like we've done this a few times already this season. But David Coleman, welcome to the booth.
Yeah, thanks, boys. It's coming on a recurrence, which is probably a good thing. Probably a little bit disappointing that it can't be through the other guys, but I'll take the moment.
Mate, that was an epic run from that final safety car through to the finish. You and Ty somehow, and looking back at it, it was going to be a lot more challenging for you both, having to watch the mirrors a bit, right up until we saw there was Thomas Wilson in the background, who unfortunately came together with another car. I can't quite recall who it was now, but all of a sudden you guys found yourselves 10-15 seconds out in front, and it was nothing to do but you two focusing on each other and the battle going on there. I don't think we've seen anything quite that intense so far this season. I kind of have a feeling you might be sweating a little bit at this point, mate.
Actually, surprisingly, not too bad. Full credit to Ty. Like, Ty's only, I think Ty's 15 or 16, so, and, you know, as much as we have banter, you know, he's a young kid putting over a few adults in here, so full credit to him for, like, he didn't really buckle under pressure. As much as tried putting the pressure on, flashing the lights, there was really only one mistake he made, and, you know, like, pressured him. But yeah, full credit to Ty. The kid's going to be quick, so yeah, like, yeah, that was good fun. We didn't make contact, so yeah, I got no words, to be honest. So.
Well, mate, let me put some words in mind for you, because we're looking at the finishing positions. In the end, 7/10 ahead of Ty Delaney. A phenomenal final bit of driving there from you. Let's talk championship positions right now. So, you ready for this? You feeling like you want to hear?
I know I'd be in front, but I honestly don't know. I honestly haven't really looked at the gap, so hopefully it's a couple of positions, because our other teammate is going to be the cork in the bottle at Bathurst, but we'll see what happens.
So before any post-race penalties or anything else, the Gold Championship standings that our viewers can see on the screen right now, David Coleman sitting in P1, 1,141 points. Ty Delaney, P2, 1,124 points. So that gap tonight has opened up significantly. I think from memory it was about 9 points prior to tonight's race between first and third. Jamie Dyke's now down in third on 1,121 points. So that's that gap's almost doubled. Double points on offer next week at Bathurst for, of course, the single session. You're going to have to do some numbers here, mate, but you're looking like still going to have to fight for this championship win if you want it. I hope we're seeing you back next week to try and take it out, mate.
Yeah, definitely, we'll be back. Shout out to Jamie. He's a bit annoyed with his strat tonight, but kudos for, you know, at least giving it a crack to try to do something different. He's trying to get the upper hand. It didn't work tonight, but yeah, Dyke will be there next week and he'll be quick. Hopefully, being Bathurst, I think a few of these guys here, like with the amount of racing's happened with the 12 hours and stuff, like I think you'll find the field will be a lot closer. So it should be exciting, hopefully for everyone involved. That next week's nice and close, so anything could happen. It's not over till the fat lady sings, I guess they say. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, mate, some awesome racing for you once again tonight. Very well deserved top points. We'll see how all of the post-race washes up, but at this stage you're in the box seat. It's yours to lose from here. No pressure, David. But
yeah, no pressure. I went out tonight and I wanted the pole. I wanted the 2 fastest laps. I just want to get the couple up on tight. So hopefully he's shaking a bit. But I just want to give a shout out to the league. I know tonight was a bit tough, probably for race control being the track it is, and the combining of the splits is probably a bit tough for everyone, but you know, majority have done well. And credit to you guys, like broadcasters looking awesome, and yeah, we've all commented on how good it is, and we love what you do. It's good to see, you know, you guys taking a passion, and obviously I know you guys race as well, but doing this, it's credit to you guys.
Oh, mate, look, I don't know if what I do is ever called racing, but you know, I'm on track occasionally.
Mate, as long as you're having fun, that's all that matters. So
at the end of the day, that's what
I think we forget sometimes that, you know, this is everyone's hobby and way of an escape. So we just got to remember, like, you know, it's just pixels and we're here to have fun, and that's the main thing. So thanks, Ace boys.
Always a pleasure to chat to you, David. Congratulations again on the points tonight, and looking forward to calling the action with you at Bathurst next week. And mate, get some rest in, because you're going to need it, I suspect. Well done again
thanks,
tonight.
boys. Thanks, Apes.
Cheers, David. So the wrap up there, Biggles. It's still a tight battle and certainly not decided. But David Coleman, he's gonna look. I'm gonna have to do some numbers, but there's gonna have to be a reasonably significant gap between Ty Delaney and David Coleman for Ty to take this championship. It's not impossible. A Bathurst Enduro can throw up all sorts of carnage, but I don't know. There's some numbers to be done here, Biggles.
It'll be fishy. I can guarantee that between those two drivers. But yes, exactly. You're right. So DC, Ty, there's a lot of at play there between them. And it's good to see that little inter-team battle brewing between them. So good on Fishy Motorsports for allowing those drivers to go for gold. They know that, hey, it's coming down to a driver championship and they're going to come down between these drivers. And you can hear it, isn't it, from DC? He knows. He's just trying to get that little edge, fastest laps, little tiny little things, to getting that edge over Ty to try to get that championship, because at the end of the day, there's only going to be one driver that holds it up. Who's it going to be?
Well, that will be the question, and we'll wait to see how that one pans out. Aaron Gilbert's still in there with a shot as well. Danny P, he's on the cusp of it, but it doesn't look likely that he's going to be able to get back into that podium position. So might be a fight between Gilbert and Danny P for P4 in the end. Let's take a look at the Silver Championship standings after tonight's round, with just the one round to go. And the gap has opened up a little bit. There was only 1 point the difference between Stevens and Cupid. Hayden Cupid's race tonight coming out ahead and really led by Scott Stevens' first race being an absolute shocker for him. But both of those guys still in the hunt, only 13 points separating them. You're only talking about 6 or 7 positions on track next week at Bathurst, and that's going to be enough for Scott Stevens to potentially pull that one back. So we'll do some numbers, have them ready for next week's broadcast, so we can keep an eye on it as we go. But Biggles, mate, I am keen as mustard for the Bathurst 400. We've got qualifying on Sunday, and the top 10 shootout will be going on, of course, and we'll bring that to you ahead of the broadcast next week. But mate, you and I have quite the mission ahead of us to keep an eye on these championship standings as we come into the final round of the MCV8 series next week at Bathurst.
And the only way to find out that is to actually join the league. Hit the like and subscribe button and then click the information below, because you're going to find out how to follow this fantastic battle to the very end. And it's a battle royale. There's no Max Verstappen's going to win this championship by 10 rounds earlier. We do not know. We do not know, Jared. Got gold splits, silver splits, and everything across the board. And of course, you want to be participating in the fantastic racing league. You can race. Sign up for next season. Be a part of that so we can shout you out on the screen. Because I know, Jared, you and I are going to be shouting out somebody's name very loudly next week.
Absolutely, we are. Biggles, it's always a pleasure in the comms booth with you, my friend. Looking forward to catching you again next week for the final round of the MCV8 series. But as the sun sets on Chicago, we will call it a night here with the Simple Racing broadcasts coverage. It's been an absolute pleasure having you all along this evening. Plenty more action that's still to come next week with the final round. And of course, stay tuned as we bring you all the news on the upcoming GT3 series that will be on its way to you from MC Motorsport just a few weeks after the conclusion of this season. So until next week, do look after yourselves and make sure you do hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the action. And we will be back next Monday night to bring you the final of the MCV8 Season 1 series. And Biggles, of course, will be right there with me. It's been a pleasure, as always, folks. Until then, stay safe, take care, and we will see you next time around. Goodbye for now.